Yeah, with this Streamlabs OBS, you click on it and it does it all for you. You don't have to start the Streamlabs and then start
Oh.
the YouTube.
You're all crunchy on the audio.
I might sort that out. Is that better now?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Opened it. We came.
That's it, yeah.
And we're live.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Here
Another
we are
week.
on the,
another.
On the eve of Brexit.
Yeah. Exciting, isn't it? Yeah. I was talking to the guy in Lidl today. Yeah, he seemed quite excited as well, and he gave me the wrong change, which was good.
Oh, what? In
He
your
gave
favour?
me more change.
That's all right then.
He gave me more change, so that's a good omen, isn't it? Yeah. More money in our pockets. More money in our pockets when we leave this fucking. Sorry, I got to stop swearing. I got to stop swearing and saying you know.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my god, I keep saying you know. Oh.
You've been listening. Oh yeah, because you said you've been listening to yourself back, didn't you?
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. Like, you know, everyone says it, doesn't they? And it's almost like it's a sort of mind control thing, isn't it? Like, everyone says it, and it's almost like if I say blah 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 blah, you know, it's almost like I'm saying like, yeah, you're going along with the program, aren't you? You know, you're I don't know. It
you're
does
in
my
the
head in.
know.
I've got to stop it.
You are.
That's
in
like
the know.
we're all like been implanted with this thing, and we're all like trying to sort of make sure that everyone's like in online with the program, aren't we? Like, you know, yeah.
Get with the
You
program.
don't have like an opposing opinion, or you're not free. You're a slave like me, you know. Like, it's horrible.
So did you see Farage's speech yesterday? His like last speech.
Yeah, he was going for it, weren't he? He had his mic turned off and everything, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, what's the point in doing a parting shot? It just makes you look pathetic, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't trust the
Irish
guy anyway. Really, he looks like a Muppet, doesn't he? Like an actual Muppet puppet. And he does though, doesn't he? He looks like a Muppet puppet, but
a Muppet puppet.
Seems odd. He just seems. I mean, I think it's all gone anyway, and it's all just it's like we're all stuck in like a horrible washing machine, aren't we? Sort of just going round and round, and like one party gets in, they do like X and Y, and then the next party comes in, they get rid of X and Y, and they do Y and X, and it just goes on and on, doesn't it? It's very bizarre. You want like a single, or we should have a single benevolent dictator, like for eternity, really. You can't just keep chopping and changing and bringing things in.
I always thought if people were smart, what they'd do was they'd constantly vote for the opposite. So they'd vote Labour one year and Conservatives the next. Then you really wouldn't get that much change. It's these massive like 12, 15 year swings that we have at the moment. That's what the problem is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like it's like I don't sort of want to be here anymore. You know, I've never really wanted to be here, but I just sort of don't want to be in this situation. I want a nice, like I say, a nice dictator where. Oh God, am I going? All right.
You want to finish
doing that circle thing, whatever it is.
No, you're sounding fine.
I just want a nice, benevolent dictator. I want a dictator with like extraterrestrial influences for some wiseness or something, you know.
Or some comfy helicopter rides.
Just a few sort of like something a bit different to this horrible. It's almost like they're trying to bore us to death, isn't it? It's not like chemical warfare or anything. It's like boredom warfare, isn't it?
Well,
like bang your head against the wall warfare.
Brexit was a war of attrition, wasn't it? Until Boris. I think they realised that there was no way they were going to get away with the usual getting people to vote, with the usual tricks.
God, they tried their best there, didn't they? Like I said, they tried to like bore us out of Brexit, didn't they? They were trying to string it out so everyone just, oh my God, just do something. But no, I'm glad we're doing it anyway. But I don't know whether we're actually going to like.
Well, are we leaving the European Union, or are we doing that magical word Brexit?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That we'll leave in name, but they'll still have their hooks in us, wouldn't they? I think.
Yeah, I think
it's just not in the. It's not in the program, is it?
I think they needed 3 years breathing space to figure out how to do Brexit and still make on it.
Yeah, and like do the sort of secret Brexit.
Yeah,
the secret remain.
The secret remain.
What a bunch of tossers, though. Fucking hell.
Absolutely. So, right.
You're cutting out a bit.
Am I roboting a bit?
Yeah. I was my end. That was like what they call it. And a bit seems all right now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
The voice meter don't seem to be too happy today. Second time I've had to restart it tonight.
No,
right.
you're all right now.
Yeah, I can't actually get that story up.
I think if you hang on, if you take the end of it off,
the question mark and the Twitter.
I'm trying. Yeah, no, it's not opening, is it?
Is it not opening? Is it not opening for you either?
That will if you. I've took the. Did I put a different? It's like if you take the end off the link.
It's the question mark onwards.
Cut off the
metadata.
Yeah, from the question mark onwards. Delete that, and then that should open. Then.
No, that's still not opening for me.
Get it in. Oh, we can't have this. Oh.
Especially when it was our 10th poll story.
Hang on, I'm determined to get it. Oh God.
I've had this happen a couple of times with BBC News stories where they seem to disappear.
Oh, here we are. That's up here for me.
Has it come for you? Has it come on? You'll have to read it then, Zero, because I just can't get it up.
Oh, I've just restarted it and it's gone again. Oh
dear.
Hang on, I'm determined to get this up. Oh, here we are.
You got it.
Loads after a while. Hang on. God, boomer. Tech support. Yeah. 25th of January 2020. A cloud formation resembling the East Anglian warrior queen, Boudica, or Boadicea, as I call her, has been described
as everyone calls her, and everyone should call her.
It has been described as awesome by a weather expert. Anyway, we don't need to read about him, but Christine Clifford. There you go with the double initial, the 33, Christine Clifford. She spotted a spear-carrying Boudica striding across the Norfolk skies earlier this week. It's thought to be a combination of clouds and a plane tail, which is interesting because the two separate elements have come together to form her image with long flowing hair and a spear in her hand.
So are they saying it's Boadicea just because it's got a spear?
And that sort of looks like a sort of warrior woman with her hair sort of blowing in the wind, sort of thing, out on a hunt to kill the Romans and that. And Yeah, that's about it, really. Yeah, pretty short article.
Yes,
But I think it's a sign of because there's a lot of political sorcery going on, and a lot of it, well, some of it's going on in Norfolk. So I think that's a sign that things are going on, because Norfolk's always been a strange place. I mean, some folklorists call it the most haunted county in England, and I think I'd probably agree with that.
Isn't Black Shuck from Norfolk?
If you want to get the gist of it, yeah.
Black Shuck's,
Go on, yeah.
Black Shuck's a Norfolk legend, isn't he?
Yeah. Black Shuck, yeah. I'm not sure whether I've seen Black Shuck before. Outside my parents' house once in the alleyway. It was very, very odd. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm just listening.
God. Oh, all right. I thought I'd cut out.
No, I'm just listening.
Yeah,
You're fine.
About 1980. Yeah. About 1989, I think I was taking the rubbish out or something, but I went out at about 12 o'clock at that time where I wouldn't normally go out. And I went out, I put the rubbish out, and there was like a long alleyway, an enclosed alleyway along the back of our houses. And I sort of looked to the right, and there was this massive dog there, this massive black dog with like a human expression. And the thing is, though, that wasn't like scared of me, and that wasn't like aggressive towards me. That was just standing there looking at me, like with a sort of human expression. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, because no one had a dog of that nature there, and that was just out in the alleyway. Yeah, so I don't know, kind of weird. But if people want to find out a bit of like the Norfolk weirdness, watch Witchfinder General. The 1968 film with Vincent Price in it, because that was filmed in Norfolk and Suffolk. And apparently the director, Michael Reeves, he told the star Ian Ogilvy that, because a lot of it was filmed in Lavenham in Norfolk, and he was told that like the night after they filmed the witch burning scene there in the village square, like there was a lot of ghostly banging and crashes and that, as if it had sort of stirred up stuff in the spirit world. But yeah, it's an interesting place. I'd like to move back there, really. But
you miss the old place, then, do you?
Well, now a lot of towns have been villages have been taken over by the Polish, didn't they? So I'd be a bit weird if I went back there now.
I believe Wisbech is now colloquially called Uzbekistan.
Yeah, that's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something going on, isn't there? What was that other? Oh no, that was that other stories about the fish, isn't it?
The fish one's fine. That's coming up fine. It's just the BB. It's just that I've had a bit of trouble with the BBC lately. So, buggers.
Yeah, I think the internet generally's been a bit weird. I couldn't sign into a few things last night. Nah.
So the Isle of Skye fish farm blocked after claim of harm to Suniverse fairies. As complaints about fish farms go, some might say that those responsible are away with the fairies, but a group has claimed the protection of magical aquatic creatures was a valid reason for opposing plans for a new fish farm on the Isle of Skye. Where's the Isle of Iona? Is that up near there?
That's a bit closer to England. I think Iona. Yeah,
you got the stream on, Zero?
Place. Yeah. Nah.
I'm hearing myself.
Have I been there?
No, I said if you got the stream on, I can hear myself a couple of seconds after I speak.
No, that's probably my crappy headphones. They leak audio. I'll turn it down a bit. That's better.
And Highland Council planners have now blocked the 12-cage organic sea harvest salmon farm. The group calling themselves the Floddigary fairies warned the Azrai, which they say have been the waters off the Isle of Skye, Scotland, for over 1,000 years, could die. They say the sprites are in fear of their lives, claiming the cages could draw the fairies to the surface and they would melt, in opposing the farm off Skye's north coast. They even warned that workers could be put...
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah. They even warned that workers could be put in danger as the mischievous water spirits lure them with promises of gold and jewels into the deepest part of the ocean.
And then there's the Blue Men of Minch, like they're around to they said they're going to protect them and fuck everything up, aren't they? If they were going to go ahead with it. the Blue Men of Minch.
Who are the Blue Men of Minch?
As further down in the article, that the friends of the fairies said that if they go ahead with this fish farm, the Blue Men of Minch are going to arrive and like mess things up for them and cause storms and stuff.
You don't want the blues arriving. Everyone will be in trouble then. Is it not the Blue Men of Israel?
Well, it's like who's behind it? Yeah, but that's good because they did stop it. That's not going ahead, and they said like, well, it's got nothing to do with this fairy stuff, but they would say that, wouldn't they? Yeah. You know, I think they've been sussed on this, but because that's another sign. It's a sign, and I look for signs, because I think there is something going on. I can feel like forces gathering, and they're manifesting and things. Because I think it's like this whole King Arthur stuff, which was called, I found out the other day, like that was called The Matter of Britain, which is like a body of medieval literature and legend stuff, like concerned with Great Britain and Brittany and all this legendary kings and King Arthur stuff. And yeah, sort of interesting stuff. And Paul Weston wrote a good book. Well, not, I won't say a good book. Well, it's a good book, not exactly on this, but on this sort of general area called Mysterium Artoris. Yeah, it's on Amazon for $5 at the moment if anyone's interested.
Not Stella Artoris.
I like a bit of King Arthur stuff. It's kind of not it shouldn't be now it's subversive. It's just our traditional law, isn't it? But now it's just subversive to talk about King Arthur, isn't it? And, you know, the knights are going to come back and sort this mess out.
So you don't think Nigel Farage is our King Arthur then?
I don't know. I think he's a sort of. I shouldn't say. I can't. Nah, I'm a bit drunk at the moment. I can get a bit mouthy.
Loose tongue.
When I get drunk, I should say.
No,
he's not my kind of guy. Put it that way.
Yeah, he's a bit of a used car salesman, isn't he, our Nige?
Yeah. Pops up with mysterious frequency, doesn't he? Whenever a right-wing populist movement is sort of getting power, yeah, he seems to pop up with alarming regularity, doesn't he? And derail it, yeah. And he's a former banker as well, so that doesn't really go well.
Yeah, he's a bit of a banker.
Because what do former bankers do? You know, they're just one of them, aren't they? They're part of the establishment. So you got like an establishment, anti-establishment bloke, supposedly, and I just don't think it works. Like once you got the establishment in you, that's it, innit? It's like you can never leave the CIA, can you? And you can never leave the establishment either. No. Well, it's the same thing, isn't it? Really.
Have you seen that Britain's X-Files are set to be published this year? The Royal Air Force has has announced it will be releasing its archive of recent UFO reports to the public.
Oh, that'd be good. It's always good to read. I read some of the previous ones a few years ago. Yeah, some of them were interesting. Yeah.
Back in 2009, however,
they're going to read it out there.
Yeah. Back in 2009, however, the decision was made to wind down its UFO unit on the basis that no UFO report had ever yielded evidence of a credible threat against the country.
Yeah, they edit out the good stuff, didn't they?
They're going to edit out the good stuff. I can never remember. Is it Nick Pope you like or you don't like?
Nick Pope, the government dope. No, I wrote a poem about him. About anal probes. I won't read it out. I can't find it, but yeah.
It said the move has been praised by UFO researchers, including former MOD UFO investigator Nick Pope. Yeah,
what a tosser, yeah. Well, he's a bull. He's proven to be a bullshitter, yeah. And I'll say it to his face if he wants to come on. He's a twat. You know, he did like that thing a few years ago when he said like aliens were going to land or something, but that turned out he was being paid to promote some film or something. That was just like he really lost his credibility with that one. Yeah, it's just pathetic, you know. What they call him? What they call him? No, I can't think now. Not William Seagull. William Seagull. He's a what they call it. Someone who like claims he's something he's not. I can't think of it. Seagull.
Walter
Isn't
Mitty.
it?
Walter Mitty, isn't it?
Walter Mitty. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, he's a Walter Mitty. Yeah, he just had some stupid desk job at the MOD and. Just pushing paper, and he claims he's got access to the secret files.
Do you think
He's a
David Shayler's
bullshitter.
bit of the same sort of the same ilk, or do you think there's something to David Shayler?
I'll cut him a bit more slack, David Shayler, yeah, because he's genuinely nuts. Or no, I shouldn't say nuts. I like David. If you're listening, David, I do like what you do.
Yeah, come on the show, Dave.
Yeah, he's a bit more interested, isn't he? Because he claims he's like the second coming of Jesus and that. And
I think he's got over all that now, hasn't he? And the trans.
No,
and
he
transvestitism.
still thinks it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is the stumbling block, isn't it? The transvesticism.
Yeah.
Because he says he was doing it when he was actually in MI5. So
he said, well,
that wasn't like
of course they want you doing. Of course they want you do when you're doing it when you work for MI5. They want some blackmail material, don't they?
Yeah. No, he's got a lot of good stuff to say. Yeah, I think he might smoke a bit too much dope, but yeah.
I like the Pope smokes dope. Do you remember that T-shirt from the 90s?
Yeah. That's like. Yeah, that's a funny old world, isn't it? Like, you got like ex-spy transvestite whistleblowers and Bodicea in the sky and X-Files are now going to be released, and we're going to leave the European Union.
I've got another one from Unexplained Mysteries. Devon police once chased the UFO at 90 mile an hour. I doubt it because they did it in a Ford Anglia. Does a Ford Anglia get to 90 miles an hour?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
One of Britain's, unless that's just a stock photo of a police car. One of Britain's, morning of October.
Insured anyway for chasing UFOs.
On the October 24th, 1967, PC's Roger Willie and David Clifford Waycott had been on a routine patrol along the A3072 between Hatherley and Holsworthy. Do you know much about down that way?
You're a bit robot-y there. I think you're all right now, though. I think everyone heard most of it. Yeah.
So, so attempted to. They encountered a large, bright, cross-shaped object hovering in the sky nearby. They attempted to approach the object and managed to get within 400 metres of it before it started moving away. They noticed it seemed to be aware of their presence.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot, that stuff, yeah. I think policemen have got loads of good stories to tell, and builders. I think builders see all sorts of ghosts when they're knocking rooms about and stuff.
That's when ghosts start appearing, don't they? Because they don't like stuff like that, do they? This one has also got another witness, a holidaymaker, who confirmed that he had also witnessed the spectacle. On various points of its journey, it was attaining high altitude, and it was down to treetop level at other times. There was no sound that I heard at all. There was no outside sound apart from the car itself. So then it was spotted another 3 days later again by police officers, seen in the same area travelling towards the northeast.
It's good stuff, yeah. Anything weird's all right with me, yeah.
Ministry of Defence investigated, and obviously they found nothing. Are we all shocked about that?
I'm happy, yeah. Any weirdness is fine, yeah. If they're reporting it seriously, yeah. I got a massive note here about my quest to get a ghost box, but I'll have to cut it down because it's a bit boring, really, unless you're into it. But
I think we've got about 10 minutes of the opening preamble to go.
You know those ghost boxes that like automatically scan up and down the radio frequency, and I've been thinking like I'd like to get one, but I can't see how they sort of would work really, because that works on the premise that the spirits must know like every single word that's going to be spoken in the near future, and then but like what do? Do they move one of the spoken answers to fit the question that the experimenter asks? Or it doesn't seem sort of, I can't see how it's going to work, you know what I mean? Like how would it work sort of? But but again, still an interesting like conversation piece to have one, or sort of a parlor game. But then again, obviously, that's how Ouija boards started, isn't it? As a parlor game. But the thing is, I'm not paying
game.
too gone, yeah.
Or a kids game. That's what it was sold as, wasn't it?
But I'm not paying like 200 quid for a ghost box. But there's this guy called Nigel. You can hack like actual radios. Like you can buy like a Radio Shack radio, or the one everyone uses was the Roberts R9921, because that's got FM medium wave and shortwave bands, so you get more voices out of it. But they're really easy to hack because you just take the back off and you snip the grey mute wire. So that's all you got to do. Once you snip that, you press the button and that'll scan automatically, like without.
I thought you always
needing
cut,
to do anything else.
cut the red
But
wire.
the trouble is, I couldn't hear that. But
I said I thought you always cut the red wire.
yeah, so, no, you cut the grey wire on the old if you want to hack a ghost box. But the bloody trouble is, they're all like pre-2012 models, and they're really hard to find now. Like you get second-hand ones, but they want like 50 quid for them. And, so if you ever see a Roberts R9921 little silver radio, yeah, snip it up because that's good. But anyway, this guy called Nigel Mortimer, he sells ones on eBay for 20 quid and 2 quid postage. So I think I'm going to get one of them. I think. Because he's done it so like there's no like white noise. It's not like you get a voice and then it's like shh for like 5 seconds, and then that like he's done stuff, and so that cuts out the white noise, so you just get the voices coming through, and that could be an interesting thing to play around with, I think.
So what kit would you suggest your amateur ghost hunter then?
I'd say nothing. I'd say get a ghost box, but don't take it on ghost hunts. I'd say at home to sort of amaze your friends with as a sort of a drinking game. I hate to say it, you could use it as a sort of drinking game or something. Just. I think you should just go out and just use your own senses, because all these like gimmicks, they're just toys. They're a very recent addition, really. I mean, I suppose you could have a camera and a tape recorder.
Well, it's for TV.
Things,
isn't it? It's like
no one ever records anything, do they?
It's for TV.
Oh God, I said there you go.
It's for
yeah.
It's for the TV crowd, isn't it? So so it looks nice on the telly.
Mm. It's like, oh look, we've got like a black blob on our video which we took for like 5 hours, and we've got like 1 second of a black blob. Oh, that's a really good like expenditure of time and effort, isn't it? Yeah, it's just like I should just go to a site and just like suss it out and just ask. I mean, I wasn't going to say this, but this morning I had a sort of ghost experience when I was walking to work, but that's a sort of good example of how this stuff works. And I was just walking along, and then I can't really explain it, but you get this feeling like that feeling just before a thunderstorm. Everything just feels strange, and when you feel that, if you sort of open yourself up to it, whatever it is that wants to manifest will always show a sign that'll either that usually makes a noise, or you see a sort of shadow or something out of the corner of your eye. And that was what happened to me. I heard like a really strange sound. That was like a wooded area, but there was no human around or no animals. But I heard it. I thought like something's going to manifest here. So I'm looking for the sign, and then suddenly there was a sound like someone hitting a hammer on a sort of plank of wood, a sort of like a really loud thing, but I just said like, just fuck off. I didn't say it in that manner. I said sort of like, fuck off, please go away. I don't want any contact. Sort of like I sent out a mixed message, and for the rest of the walk, I just felt really weird, and my stomach felt really horrible and tight, and yeah. But that's how these things work. It's just your own senses are the things to use, not bloody electrical components. And this thing that wanted to manifest was human, but that was a very powerful spirit. I feel a bit. I don't like saying like go away, but it's just like I'm on the way to work. I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I ain't got
I
time
don't
to
want
be
to deal
messing
with
about
this
you. I've got to get to work.
Yeah, it's just like because that's what's happened. That's what done my head in the past. I mean, you can have all these strange experiences, but it doesn't pay the rent. You know, you've still got to go to work the next day. And if I haven't been, but if I was like whisked off to Venus at night, you know, on the UFO, you still got to go to work the next day. You can't really call in sick and say I'm not coming in today. I was going to Alpha Centauri on a sort of UFO. You know, that's just mental. But that's why I don't like it really. It's like, you know, I should be on a stipend or a sort of whatever they call it.
Yeah, what you want to say? You want to say you got any treasure to show me? If not, I'm going to work.
Yeah, give me something I can work with. Yeah. Just like I don't know. It's just
I'll give a chunk to you, whatever relatives you got left. But I'm having a cut.
Yeah, I'll do it to charity or whatever. Yeah, but that stuff does happen though. I mean, I haven't got any examples, but I'm sure that stuff does happen. Sort of like there's that famous murder in the Red Barn, isn't there, in Norfolk, where a murdered woman, her ghost appeared to her mother and led her to where she was buried. So this stuff does happen.
Right, are we ready?
It's quite a famous bit. Yeah.
Are we ready for some content now?
Yeah.
Right, so
I'm Libra now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got like a shitload of notes there. So
do you want to give us a pre?
You're probably going to hear some furious scrolling.
Do you want to give us one of your famous preambles to this?
What?
I thought you might have because you normally have like a bit of an intro, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's just like I've got so many notes. I don't know where to start. It's just there's
let's start the start.
I'll do in depth about the blonde thing.
I'll do the bio and then you can chime in. I think it's probably the best way to do it. So Diana Frances Spencer, go on then.
Before we start, look, Brexit is on the 31st of January, isn't it? And Princess Diana died on the 31st of August, 1997. So we got the 31 coming up there. Like that's a cryptocracy number to do with Liberal, Aleister Crowley and Liberal. That's the number of Liberal, isn't it? And I worked it out. There's 8,188 days between Brexit and Diana's death, but I don't know what that means, but don't know. And by the way, while I'm on the subject, but by this ordinal cipher I use, like Brexit equals 78, which is the number of cards in a tarot deck, and 78 reduces to 15, and tarot trump 15 is the devil. So there you go. Case closed, really.
Right, so Diana Frances Spencer was born on the 1st of July 1961 at Park House, Sandringham, Norfolk. She was the fourth of 5 children: John Spencer, Viscount Althorpe, Frances Spencer, and Viscountess Althorpe, née Roche. The Spencer family has been closely allied with the British royal family for several generations. Diana's grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer, Countess Spencer, Ruth Roche, Baroness Fermoy, had served in ladies in waiting to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The Spencers were hoping for a boy to carry on the family line, and no name was chosen for a week until they settled on Diana Frances, after her mother and after Lady Diana Spencer, a many times great aunt who was also a prospective Princess of Wales.
She was bred, wasn't she? She was bred to be a broodmare for flappy ears.
Well, she
ears,
wasn't, was she? Was it Jane, her sister?
I think so.
Was it Jane, her sister?
Was she in line with it?
Yeah.
Or was she the first choice?
She's second. She was. I think she, because I've always believed that she's pretty conniving. Diana is. I don't know about your opinion of her.
I didn't know she had a sister. What? She was like the first in line for Charles, was she?
Yes, and she.
Well, they swapped her over for Diana.
Yes.
Because Diana was pretty hot. in her younger days, weren't she? I was always pretty hot, I suppose. But
Yeah, I think I can't. It's either Sarah. She's got two sisters, Sarah and Jane. I can't remember which one was. I can't remember which one was going with Charles, and then she kind of elbowed her out.
I'm trying to find a bit, but because on that, they say she was born on the Sandringham estate. I'm furiously scrolling it.
We can all hear you.
Where is it? Come on. Yeah, the Sandringham estate, like, you know, these like popular supernatural books you used to get in the 70s and 80s. They always show this this like voodoo bell that was nailed to the door of Castle Rising in 1964, and that's on the Sandringham estate. And it's just like, you know, you got like a woman and a man like nailed to this door of Castle Riding, which is a royal castle, and I think there's a sheep's heart as well. I mean, that's a love spell to like bring a man and woman together. So I've always wondered, like, is that Diana and Dodie? Like, they were even planning it back in 1964 to sort of do this weird spell that certainly did something to the royalty, didn't it? That, I mean, it's given birth to the Sun King, Prince William, hasn't it? And that other his runt other son, who's married a. Well, we better not.
Well,
less said about him.
They call him the heir and the spare, don't they? Call it an heir and a spare, don't they?
I mean, he's a bit of a weirdo, isn't he? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, Harry, but there's something not right about you, mate. I was just like, Prince William is a strapping young lad, isn't he? But him, nah. Is that Hobbit?
Oh, hello. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's strange. I could recognise your sort of like room noise.
Oh dear. As it say? Oh, I've got a user interface panel on my microphone. Sorry, I wanted to listen more about what you were saying. Ignore me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Here we go. Where is it? Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Castle Rising. I mean, that is a. Oh yeah. In September 1964, two clay effigies of a man and a woman with a sheep's heart pierced with hawthorn twigs, a traditional witch ingredient for spells for inducing love, were found nailed to the door of the 12th century Castle Rising. Yeah. Nice. On the Queen's Sandringham estate. And I mean, there's magic there going on our estate. And
if I can just detract from the Sandringham estate and the Spencer name for a bit, is my voice in mono? Does it have any of that echoey boominess that it did before?
You still echoey.
That sounds fine.
You still echoey booming, but it's better than any other.
Oh, that's annoying because. Okay, so my microphone has like numerous settings, and one of them is called MS, and it's not short for multiple sclerosis. And I've twiddled the buttons to say like how much like bias do you want to put on the side microphones, how much do you want to put on the front microphone. So I said, please may you use just the front microphone. So it's now said side microphones off in mono. But I'll listen back to this and yeah.
You'll get there.
I'll listen back to this podcast. One of these days I'll get there and then I can contribute useful content.
So this is quite interesting. On the 30th of August 1961, Diana was baptised at St Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham. She grew up with three siblings, Sarah, Jane and Charles. Her infant brother John died shortly after his birth 1 year before Diana was born. Desire for an heir added strain to the Spencers' marriage, and Lady Althorpe was reportedly sent to Harley Street clinics in London to determine the cause of the problem.
Yeah, and get programmed by the mind control weirdos. Yeah.
No, she wasn't. She was no longer capable of calf, I don't think. They wanted her to have another son, I think.
Who's that? What, Diana's mother?
Yeah, Diana's mother couldn't have any more kids.
Yeah, maybe she's one of those, like, not test tube babies, but they get people in, don't they, to sort of breed when they can't breed themselves. They get one of their security detail in to do the business, don't they?
Out of curiosity, does what's his name, Princes Harry and William, do they? Oh no, he's not Prince William anymore. But anyway, are the children of Diana, do they have haemophilia? Because that was a trait which I think the other royals have got.
Prince Albert it comes from.
Oh, because I heard it was when Queen Victoria married her first cousin, Prince Albert Square. I always love giving his full title because I was thinking of, Albert Square and that thing, that show. They married, and then it's like, oh look, all my children have got haemophilia. Well, better not cut themselves shaving.
Well, I heard it came from Albert, the haemophilia.
Yeah, Prince William had his penis pierced, didn't he? The top of his penis.
Prince Albert, penis pierced,
Prince
so
Albert, not
Prince William.
Yeah,
Prince Albert. You
to
said
the side of
William.
his leg.
All right, okay. So I'm going to dispute two things now. So, Hemi's told me that Prince Albert's got haemophilia. I don't know whether he has or not, but definitely Victorian Prince Albert had the genes for it, and because they didn't have a good copy, that meant their children all suffered haemophilia.
Well,
now, if Prince Albert did suffer with haemophilia,
used to be known as the royal disease.
Would you?
It's vampirism, isn't it? Haemophilia is vampirism.
If you got something like that, I don't know about like piercing your chap, but I imagine there's a bit of blood loss there. And if you got haemophilia, that blood loss is going to be amplified.
Yeah, that might have been the cause of it. Yeah, because it's like I don't know how
well, that's why it's called
like,
Prince Albert Hobbit.
I think he did it because he was around the old sod, weren't he, Prince Albert? And I think they did it so like you could like chain it to his leg, so he wouldn't have embarrassing erections at like functions.
Yeah, I heard that's what the reason was.
Yeah,
but wait! I got. Oh, I hate being the skeptical logic man here, but if you got a problem with like your willy sticking up at functions, why can't you just? I mean, we've all been there, right? You use a piece of string or tape to glue it down to your thigh. You don't need to have like a piercing there. That's over the top.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Hobbit. I can tell you two facts. One, it's called a Prince Albert, and two, Prince Albert had one.
Well, yeah, and so all I'm assuming from then is he got his jollies from doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put past the royals to be into some weird and kinky things sometime. Just back onto the subject of royals. Do you remember when I think he was a teenage boy and he was naked and he was shivvying down one of the gutters at pipes in Buckingham
I saw
Palace.
that, yeah. Isn't that freaky, yeah.
I mean, that was memory hold fast. It's just like, oh, look, here's a boy who's probably been abused, naked, trying to escape Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
No talk about it. No, like, national news.
And he fell off, didn't he? Like, halfway down, he fell off. Like, so he must have caused some damage to himself. But, yeah.
He probably wasn't very fit to begin with because, if you've just been buggered or something, you don't really want to shimmy down the drain pipe.
I'm going to see if it's still on the YouTube. I bet it's been scrubbed. But... God, what would I type in?
There was also that guy that broke into the Queen's bedroom. There was that bloke that broke into the Queen's bedroom as well, weren't there?
Yeah, Michael Fagan. Yeah. Interesting name, Michael Fagan. Yeah, a hand-grubbing name.
That's literally from a Dickensian novel.
Yeah.
You got to pick a pocket or two.
I've put naked man fucking. I should have put like naked man Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace.
I bet it's not on there.
Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, you probably.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's still on here. Yeah. Oh, it's on some Asian site. If I put this in the chat, we're not going to get a copyright claim from Asia, are we?
No, probably not.
Or maybe Channel 4.
You don't really get struck.
Oh,
I've stuck it in the chat. Because someone told me once that's what ladies in waiting were for. It's like because the royals they like frown upon masturbation, so that's why the ladies in waiting were invented. So like the ladies are waiting to be shagged by the male royals as a sort of plaything, so they don't have to masturbate. Sort of.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I think I'm right on this one, but to me it just sounds like You know what? I think the royals, they just generally discourage from doing things for themselves. Like, they're not allowed to wipe their own ass. That's for the groom of the stall. And, oh, the groom of the stall is the most revered position any of the royal staff can have. Well, it is the most intimate of positions a royal staff member could have. I mean, if your task of wiping someone's bum, that's a high position of trust. This is the royal family, chaps. This is what happens.
I'm playing it now. It should appear on the screen in a couple of seconds.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Can it go full screen? Is that?
Don't know. Is that full? Is that showing in full screen now?
I don't know. There's a bit of a lag. But...
Thank you, based Indians.
There he is. Look.
So, for those of you who are going to be listening to this, they will just show the horse procession, and yeah, he was going down. It wasn't a drain pipe. It was a improvised rope made out of what, bed sheets or something.
Traditional method, isn't it? Yeah, and he falls off. Look.
Start bollock naked. He loses his footing as he tries to put his feet on a window and just falls down. And yeah, he falls down 2 or 3 stories.
Well, there we go.
So yeah, weird. It's just it's repeating the thing, and then a tourist pans to 2 women he's with or she's with, and the women are smiling about it. It's like, oh look, a man who's probably fallen to his death. Let's just titter and laugh about that.
I like the way they slip in a mobile phone advert in between 2 things.
Base Chinese.
Buy my mobile phone.
My latest mobile phone has the app to show you the nearest designated streets that you can pull in.
And Marco says something in the chat when he says he can when he does training, he can see that how the true faces of people, you can see the true evil in faces, and bloody hell, I've seen that when I've been on psychedelics, and I've seen sort of people's faces turn to evil. You can see they're evil, and you can see they're good as well, though. Yeah.
So what do you think to Diana's stepmother's name, Rain? She was Rain Spencer, wasn't she, the stepmother? Apparently she had a really bad time, didn't she?
It's the devil's rain, isn't it?
Yeah.
As they say. Well, I say as they say, it's that stupid horror film with William Shatner in it. But yeah, it might be based on something. I don't know.
Marco Pacific says something which is interesting. The higher you climb the spirit, the more evil you see.
Lady Diana first met.
Well, the higher you go up the pyramid, the weirder it gets.
So, Lady Diana first met Charles, Prince of Wales, Queen's eldest son, blah, 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 when she was 16 in November 1977.
I've got to stop you. You're getting all robot-y and crunchy.
Well, listen to the podcast on the way back to hear what he was saying.
Right, so he met Diana when she was 16 first time, November 1977. He was then dating her older sister, Lady Sarah.
So he was dating her older sister, but then met Diana, and the arranged marriage happened. Is that what happened to me?
I don't know. I always thought she was. I've always been kind of very suspicious of Diana. I think she's a social climber.
Well, yeah, but that's the Spencer family for you. I mean, they're an aristocratic family, and aristocrats are all about social status and climbing.
Mm.
She didn't have much between her ears, did she, to be blunt about it? She was sort of like a nice, lovely, cuddly sort of teddy bear.
No, out of curiosity, because the look she had on her face, you know her look, right? The Spencer family, they're an English family, right? Or what's the phrenology, the genetics of it? Is that is she Norman? Is she Anglo-Saxon? Because I thought she was
Spencer.
Spencer,
wouldn't that be Norman?
There's a theory she was a Stuart, which I don't really understand. They're a pretender to the throne, aren't they? The Stuarts. And someone said she was from the Stuart bloodline, and that's why they wanted to breed with her, to get the sort of, I don't know, the psychic sort of bloodline stuff of the Stuarts. But that's all a bit too woo-woo even for me. I don't know. That's possible. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can set. You don't even have to sort of go into too much speculation to go that
Fucking hell.
yeah, these royals are
She
seeking to
weren't very.
merge their bloodlines.
She weren't very good. She weren't very good with staircases, was she? Because she said her stepmom used to throw her down staircases, and then she said in January 1982, 12 weeks into the pregnancy, Diana fell down a staircase at Sandringham.
Yes, kind of like that.
She couldn't navigate a staircase, could she, the old girl?
Maybe that was kind of like the royal family's prankers, just like, hey, check out this commoner. I'm not common. My brothers and sisters are viscounts. Yeah, push you down the stairs. That's very funny, Philip.
Diana later confessed she had intentionally thrown herself down the stairs because she was feeling so inadequate.
It's oh look, she's had a little accident. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
I mean, reading the stuff I did from David Icke about that, the Queen Mum did used to bully her quite harshly, severely.
To be fair, with the Queen Mum with her horse racing and gin, it was probably just banter.
Well, she was an actual reptilian, wasn't she? The Queen Mum, because when she died, they had to bury her in an enlarged coffin because she shapeshifted into a reptilian. And then she died, and she couldn't shapeshift back, so they had to have like a massive coffin, an oversized coffin to put her in. But that's why you never heard her speak. Like you never heard her speak because she spoke like a, like that.
So in other words, she sounded a bit like George Soros.
Are we going light on the woo woo tonight? Then are we serious?
You see, I always believe that the reptilians aren't like true mortal beings like we are. I've always been more suspicious, thinking to myself that, actually, you know what? It's probably that they just can't retain the human form anymore. Therefore, those burials are just ceremonial.
The whole point is they're jealous of us, aren't they? That's why they're trying to do. They're trying to pollute our bloodline. They want to drag us down to their level, don't they, Zero?
Is it jealousy, or is it like, you know, how do you regard pigs or cattle? I'm not really. Well, sometimes I'm jealous of them. I mean, pigs seem to have got things figured out, as far as I'm concerned.
Happy as a pig in
shit.
Shit.
I think reptilians are pretty based. You know, based reptilians. They're sort of like they're really into sort of like what do you call it, honor and all that sort of business. You know, all that sort of reputation and all that sort of Roman prowess sort of
stuff.
They
are very much into ritual. I mean, that's it, the reptilian part of the brain is closely tied in with ritual, I'm told.
It's a bit brutal, but it's better than being like a sort of sissy boy, sort of Prince Harry, isn't it?
I feel so sorry, Prince Harry, because he's always the runt of the litter, and it's just like, yeah, you're not really one of us. And so I believe he's been ritualistically humiliated in so many ways.
I think he's the offspring of Diana and that rugby player, isn't he? Because he looks exactly like that rugby player that she had an affair with.
It's Major Hewitt, isn't it?
Yeah, Major Hewitt. Because he's a ginger, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he a ginger?
Yeah, Major Hewitt's polo.
Well, I assume so,
Major Hewitt's polo. He's not. Major Hewitt's polo player. He's not a rugby player.
And it's a bloodline curse, isn't it? A ginger.
Yeah. Well, it's double if you put Di in the line, isn't it?
Because they all turn Muslim, don't they? The gingers. So yeah.
Ginger jihadi. So right. So where we going?
Can
next
we put up? Well, this would be a good time to put up Diana in her pentagram dress.
I can do that if you give me 2 seconds. There's Diana in a pentagram dress. Do you want me to zoom that in a bit?
2 shakes of a dog's dick.
It takes a while to appear, but
I think it's about 20 seconds, isn't it?
For those
yeah. Why do you get this delay when you upload photos? It's weird, isn't it?
It's just the buffering.
I got to wait until everyone can see it until I can explain it.
Well, you could describe the picture a bit.
Yeah, you can describe it.
Yeah.
It's up now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there she go. Yeah, you'll have to well, not you, but people at home will have to explain it. But there's Diana, pre Well, in the prime of her sort of like in the prime of her being involved with all this murky subterfuge, and she's dressed as the bride of Satan in a sort of like black silk dress with 13 pentagrams on it. I've counted them. There's 13 pentagrams, and this photograph was broadcast in Hello magazine on the 6th of September 1997, issue 474. But she, if you look, she's like, her left hand is holding her right hand, and that's an MK Ultra slave pose. Like I've seen other women making this pose. Like that's like
Monroe.
Yeah, it's like her unconscious side on her left, the sinister side, is like controlling her normal side, like the right side of the day, and it's like it's an MK Ultra pose. But and you see that chair she's sitting on. You got the two what look like lions on that chair, and I mean, I don't understand what that means. But of course, the symbol of the British Royals is the lion, isn't it? Or of Englishness is the lion. And
one is like the heraldic animals of the United Kingdom, the unicorn and the lion.
I've always wondered about that. Yeah, it's bloody weird, isn't it? I say it's weird. I mean, it just shows that they're into weird stuff, doesn't it? Really.
I mean, in Australia, it's the kangaroo, and I can't remember what the other part of it is. But there's come on, what's the other? I mean, what I think the badger
and the lion. We get quite often over here, don't we? Wallaby as well in Australia.
The badger and the hare, I think, would be more. Those animals be better representative of our British Isles. Alabaster says, "Is 13 significant?" I mean, do you want to get into that zero? Saying about the Knights Templar and how the Pope or one of the French kings killed a lot of them.
It's the number of people at the Last Supper. That's why it's unlucky.
Oh.
And it's also the black nobility, isn't it? The black nobility of Europe, and especially Italy. It's like it's mocking Christ's 12 disciples, isn't it? It's like the underground satanic royalty kind of thing. That's the way I see it. So, yeah.
Because how many Dukes of Hell are there? Is it 12 Dukes of Hell?
Depends what system you use, really. There's supposed to be like 72 in total, but there's all sorts of like things. It's like there's kings and princes, because the whole demonic realm is structured in, or according to some systems, is structured as like a royalist court, like with like kings and courtiers and that. Yeah, it's very odd. It arose in the medieval times. Yeah, as a sort of the satanic undercurrent to like the actual royalty. Yeah, and again, fairies are called like what are they called? They're called the gentry, aren't they? In some sort of recensions or whatever. Yeah, it's very odd.
Well, I never.
The gentry, aren't they? They're called the gentry, and yeah, it's sort of like all this stuff is sort of like made up, but it's sort of real as well, isn't it? It's very strange.
Well, it's made up, but at the same time, from where was it made up, and where's the origins of these tales? That's an interesting.
Oh, something I forgot to mention earlier is Diana was baptized on the 30th of August 1961. She died on the 31st of August, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, she actually had the crash on the 30th, didn't she, and died on the 31st. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly.
What? So they pulled a plug on midnight? It's like, yeah, all right, it's 31st, yeah.
Yeah. So exactly 36 years of age, which is the 3 threes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nikola Nevevov in the chat, he says, all those pentagrams are pointing up. Isn't that supposed to be a positive sign? Well, I've always understood the pentagram pointing up is like a geometrical representation of the human body, whereas if it's pointing down, it's Baphomet with the 2 goat horns.
Yeah, because it looks like a goat's head, doesn't it, when it's upside down?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, it depends what intention. I mean, if you're like a really evil Satanist, you can use an upright pentagram for like evil means, can't you? If you're like a perverted Satanist, I suppose, because it's just, everything just gets weird, doesn't it, in that area? It's just sort of like...
I mean, That's better. There is so much stigma behind the pentagram these days. I'd say more so than the six-pointed star.
I don't think no, it's not a
got a lot of energy
stigma.
attached to it.
There's not a stigma, is there? Because there's Zero's favourite lot, aren't they? The old pewter pentagram crowd, aren't there?
Yes.
I don't know why, but growing up, I always had the heebie-jeebies about the pentagram.
Well, what I mean is it's far more mainstream now, isn't it? The pentagram, and if you saw someone walking down the street with was it Slayer use it, don't they? I think in their t-shirts. So if you saw someone walking down the street with an upside down pentagram, you wouldn't think a lot of it.
I mean, not that I'm much one to advocate for Hindu philosophy, but Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And I'm thinking, when you got these witches, or they call themselves witches or Wiccans, whatever they call themselves, and they go around with these pentagrams. I see them when I go to summer solstice celebrations, and I see them there, and I just think to myself, yeah, you're not really what I call the picture of health and beauty.
Yes, I certainly agree there. Kind of, they tend to be a bit on the overweight side, don't they?
It's funny that. Those robes are practical. They go right.
The pewter pentagram crowd, do they look a bit like comic book guy from The Simpsons? Do they?
They do. No, actually, do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets morbidly obese so he can work from home?
Sounds like me, yeah.
They look like that. It's like, I want to work from home. No, you're not disabled.
Oh God, I forgot what I was going to say now. Fucking hell, is it?
We need to.
I'm sorry to be derailing.
No, just like pentagrams, I see them as generally okay, but funnily enough, the traditional symbol to invoke demons is the hexagram, which is on a certain country's flag, quite predominantly. So yeah, and that predates all that. But, yeah,
I don't know what you can. I have no idea.
Called the Seal of Solomon, or am I getting that wrong?
The hexagram, the upright triangle and the downward pointing triangle superimposed. Look,
as above, so below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like an anti-Semitic canard to me.
See, no,
that's purely coincidental, and I think that's just one of those anti-white smears I hear so much about these days.
You're just noticing things here. Stop noticing.
Yeah, you're a dirty smear merchant.
No, it predates all this sort of flags and Balfour declarations and that. No, it goes way before that. The pentagram is an ancient symbol. I mean, that was in Africa, I think.
It's one of those symbols that's prehistoric because.
So it's the much maligned swastika.
Like I said,
that goes way back, doesn't it? The swastika.
I'm glad you mentioned that because with the swastika, I mean, we see it in numerous, and all I can think to myself is it's the constellation, the plough through the four seasons, as seen in the northern hemisphere. But with the pentagram, I suppose it's even more ancient because it's like, what geometrical pattern can I use to represent the human form? Well, you've got a head at the top, two arms at the side, and two legs at the bottom. So, like the Vitruvian man, he's splayed out in the pentagram form.
Or the man at the start.
Yeah,
of
I think it's to do with extraterrestrials.
Or that geezer at the start.
Yeah,
of World in Action.
He was as well. Yeah. Good, great theme tune that was, wasn't it? World in Action. Yeah. That's good stuff. Pounding.
I had why did I have it? Is this jingle from some French news radio program stuck in my head today? I've been getting bits of music stuck in my head over and over again.
Right, so
it does get a bit annoying.
We've done Diana's early life. Is there anything in her kind of middle life, or are we going straight to the death?
I've got this awful sort of theory about the Golden Girls, but I think it's too cringe to mention. Well, I don't know if it's cringe, but it's just like we're talking about tonight, like we've got Diana and Dando. They're both blondes, aren't they? And gentlemen prefer blondes, but maybe the elite cult of paedophiles prefer blondes as well for their like sacrifices or something.
Well, isn't there a third
Well,
golden
I
girl you
could,
want
I
to
could tell you,
hold?
I consider myself a gentleman, and I prefer redheads, but blondes are nice.
Someone told me they smell of sand. But
Well, blondes?
I've never been with a blonde, but yeah, they apparently smell of sand.
Oh, I no, I can see what they're getting on there. What they might be inferring there, but
Pheromones.
yeah. It's never thought of it as smelling that way, but there you go.
So, I've actually, if I can bloody find it, I've got quite an interesting thing about blondes. Hang on. Blondes, was it? Yeah,
Well,
blondes. Well, go on, yeah.
I was going to say, they always say that, blondes are really dumb. And it's like, well, yeah, except, all the geniuses which are blondes. And I'm thinking, that's just a cope from a certain tribe which really despises blondes and, are doing cope posts about it.
Because I think the royals are really like beyond all this sort of like media stuff. I think they are trying to sort of put forth traditional British values and all this King Arthur stuff. Because I mean, if you think about it, maybe a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan woman is sort of like the sun. It's like a sun symbol of like everything that's good in this world, and of course you got King William, whose birth was deliberately induced, so he was born at the summer solstice, when the sun is most high and powerful. And I think they're doing something to do with that, because his wife, Kate Middleton, she was born at an eclipse of the moon, where again the sun is at its most powerful. So I think there's some sort of quite strange stuff going on there in the background. And yeah, like you say, some tribes don't like blondes, do they?
Well, if I may repeat myself because I forgot I had the mute thing on, hang on. No, I could be talking up my arse here. I'm just sort of thinking to myself, there's only a certain amount that can be blonde. Not everyone can be blonde, and yeah. So I think it's a jealousy.
Yeah. I see. I found it. Yeah, like there's loads of coincidences with Princess Diana and Marilyn Monroe, who is in a sort of occult sense. I mean, she's the iconic American blonde, isn't she? And like Princess Diana and Marilyn Monroe, they were both born on the first of the month. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she died mysteriously. They were both born on the first of the month. They both married on the 29th of the month to men 12 years older. They both developed psychiatric problems after a sexual relationship with a rich and powerful man. And they both died under suspicious circumstances at the age of 36 in the month of August. Like, so that's a bit weird. Like,
What do you think?
And then you've got like Elton John, like the Satanist homosexual Elton John. I mean, Marilyn called herself the Queen of Diamonds, and Diana called herself the Queen of Hearts. And you got that Elton John song, "A Candle in the Wind," that was originally about Marilyn Monroe, but then he switched it to refer to Princess Diana.
Then she did one. Then he changed the words again, didn't he, for Mother Teresa? Yeah. Sandals in the bin.
Oh God.
Can we unleash all the Diana jokes now?
I'm not good at jokes. Yeah, I used to know a few, but I've bloody forgotten them all.
It was well, I'll try and think of the joke. One of them is, did you know Diana had dandruff? I found her head and shoulders in the glove compartment.
Oh, fuck it up.
Yeah.
What does Diana stand for? What does Diana stand for? Died in a nasty accident.
Okay. I was going to say, what does NASA stand for?
Need another 7 astronauts.
Another 7 astronauts.
Oh.
Oh, that's enough of the bad humour.
Well, I think what the thing is here is Prince Charles, isn't it? Old floppy ears, like he's the one, isn't he? I mean, he's the master manipulator, isn't he? I mean, well, the way in the media he's portrayed as this sort of like vaguely sort of new agey, sort of like jolly old chap, isn't he? But
Foppish.
But Christ, he owns half of Cornwall, doesn't he?
He's
Cornwall.
He's portrayed as being kind of foppish, isn't he?
That is fucking evil.
What? But
that Duchy of Cornwall is just fucking evil.
What? Explain how that works. I don't, because I don't understand how like land and stuff gets allocated. But why has the Prince of Wales got places in Cornwall? I mean, Pembrokeshire's really nice. Why doesn't he own like a palace there?
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, he's English, but he's the Prince of Wales as well. Kind of like, I don't understand it.
No, I can understand that because the Welsh can't look after themselves. We'll have to appoint some of the English after it.
But I was just to say, like, that Duchy of Cornwall, that really is the Duchy of Cornwall. He owns half of Cornwall, and he like rakes in millions from rents and all this sort of business. And Prince Charles and.
Doesn't he have a Potemkin village in Herefordshire?
Yeah, he's got that sort of like model village, isn't he, with all this sort of like stuff. And I think he's waiting in the wings, Prince Charles, and he's going to become a sort of weird like people's king. I don't know, like a kind of, he's going to be like a bridge between modern multicultural Britain and the sort of traditional Britain. He's going to try and sort of play that role, kind of, because he's always talking about like interfaith, isn't he, and all that sort of strange sort of Freemasonic. Well, it's Freemasonic, isn't it? That interfaith stuff. Like,
do you think a lot of this stuff is because they should that this branch of the family we've got now should never ever have been royalty? Do you reckon that's why they're so bad at it?
Yeah, that's just weird, isn't it? Because he's just gone to the Holy Land.
In some ways, it's not in their genes to become royalty, is it? It was Edward's.
Nah.
It was Edward's job. He was groomed for it, wasn't he?
They should just be opening.
They
should just be cutting ribbons at like motorways and that, shouldn't they? They shouldn't be like bloody running the country. Because he's just gone to the Holy Land, isn't he, Prince Charles? And he's doing all his like machinations there, and
is he doing the Wailing Wall
together? And
is he doing the Wailing
Wall?
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a rabbit hole you guys want to go on to, since we're talking about Princess Diana and her death, or assassination. But King Edward, he abdicated because he was sympathetic to the German nationalists.
No, it was just because he married a divorcee.
You
can't marry a divorcee and become king.
So that's why Prince Harry had to abdicate from all the stuff he was doing then.
Yeah, and that's why Prince Charles is going to abdicate, which he's not going to, is he?
Yeah, that's. Oh man, that's a load of books.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm guessing we're subjects of the crown, so we're not allowed to question that. Like, I found out there's a thing you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube anymore. So I mention it.
Okay.
Well, like Prince Charles's grandmother, Princess Alice of Battenberg, I mean, she's buried in Jerusalem on the Mount of Olives, which is like the most like a special place in Israel, isn't it? So that's a bit odd. That's why he went there, to sort of visit the grave of his grandmother. So you got the British royal like in line to the throne, and his grandmother's like got all this weird Jewish sort of like connection. Yeah, so that's just like odd, isn't it? You'd think his grandmother would be buried in like Tintagel in somewhere, not Israel, but yeah.
It's almost as if they're not really our royalty, and they're just a bunch of stooges.
Because they're all circumcised, aren't they? Every British male royal is actually circumcised.
That's a proud Anglo-Saxon tradition. That is, mutilating the tip of your son's cock.
It's just a sort of curious thing, isn't it?
It's a curious little custom we've got. There's nothing to it. Oh dear,
I
somebody's come
forgot
down
to-
with chinky pox.
somebody done forgot to mute the stream. Mute himself. Someone's got
I've got
nice nose blow on there.
apparently on the 26th of April 19. Oh no, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, that was Dando, Jill Dando. But well, I might as well say it now. But on the 26th of April 1999, the popular BBC presenter Jill Dando said, "I was aware that standing up in public doing this job could mean I was putting myself in the firing line." Like fucking hell. And
So
she was, wasn't she?
What year do you think the French investigation into Diana's death concluded?
666 and or something.
1999, the same year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, you know that you've seen that documentary called Unlawful Killing?
No.
It was supposed to be broadcast on Channel 4, but the Crown said in no uncertain terms, you will not be broadcast that in the UK. D-notice. And so I watched it on when I was not in the United Kingdom, of course.
Of course.
And so there was a grand jury or something in the French courts, and they were said that the Crown coroner, the one appointed by the Crown, told the jury, says, you can't say murder, but you're not allowed to come to that conclusion. The most you can say is unlawful killing. So that's why the documentary is called Unlawful Killing. So it's not murder. And even though there was someone making death threats towards her, and I'm not going to be repeating his name, but some people liken his appearance a bit to Dumbo on account of his flappy ears. He was making death threats about his ex-wife.
I didn't think it was him.
Normally, when you
dad.
make death threats,
because everyone seems to blame his dad for it.
The death threats were, it would be a shame if your brakes were to stop working when you're with your fiance. And to me, that sounds like a legally actionable threat. Not that I'd ever say such a thing, but just imagine if I said such a thing about my ex-spouse.
I think it's just a coincidence, Hobbit.
It probably is.
Too much into it.
And as we we were talking about 13 a while ago. You know, the car hits the 13th pillar, doesn't it? Like,
of course it would.
Yeah.
Well, she also died on
with no
CCTV.
On the 31st.
She also died on the 31st of August, which is 13 backwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
How easy is it? Because the car's travelling at some speed in that tunnel. How easy is it to hit the 13th? I don't know how far these pillars are spaced from one another. Well, I'm just wondering, like, what's the skill involved in, like, oh, look, there's the 13th pillar, right, time to aim and drive into it.
That was some good driving from that white Uno, wasn't
it? Apparently the BMW that went into the garage a few weeks before for sort of repairs in inverted commas. So
it was a Mercedes.
I don't know if they could mess with the steering or something.
I think it was a Mercedes, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a Mercedes-Benz
Mercedes, yeah, sorry, yeah, Mercedes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's got like computerized steering, hasn't it, Mercedes? So I don't know if they can...
I wouldn't have thought a nasty letter from BMW.
What about? Do you think there's anything significant about the logo of Mercedes then? Zero.
There's something weird about the Aston Martin one with that's with Dando, but yeah, I can't. It's a bit occult, and I can't quite place the Mercedes. Is that the? No, I'm thinking of Volkswagen.
It's a triangle. Well, it's a 3
points.
Not a triangle, but what do you mean? 3 points. A 3-pointed star in a circle.
Yeah, three spoked
Mercedes. I can't see it.
I was just going to say we wouldn't besmirch BMW, especially their new Z4 coupe, because that is who this episode of Fortean words is being brought to you by. So the new BMW Z4 coupe. Go to your local BMW dealership and said you heard about it on Fortean words for a test drive.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's interesting because you got like the upright 3-pointed thing, but in the center of it, you got a downward pointed one as well. So you got the 33 there.
Yeah.
So maybe they're cool because I like the Freemasons. I like the Freemasons. So because they're anti-communist.
Is there any like link between the 33 degrees in Freemasonry and the 33 vertebrae in the human spine? By the way, 24 are in the back and 7 are in the neck.
I think that's probably the obvious answer here is like Kundalini, isn't it? It's like maybe the higher degrees are to do with that, like raising the Kundalini up the 33 vertebrae of the spine, I would think. I mean there's all sorts of 33 symbolism, isn't there? Because Christ died age 33, didn't he? Or was crucified age 33. I found something out the other day about 33. I bloody forgot it though. But yeah, it's just because like someone gave an interesting answer once. Like if you look at 33 from above, that looks like two blokes having anal sex. Like you see like a 33. It's like you got the buttocks on the left and the erect penis on the right one. Kind of.
Zero. That's about as controversial as saying if you type 8008135 into your calculator and turn it upside down, it says boobies.
Yeah, that's it. But they say like the higher levels is all bum boy stuff. But
well, it is. I mean, there's that. There's that whole thing with the Skull and Bones fraternity, which I'm guessing is one of those fraternal organisations where they wank in a coffin while saying all their sexual secrets.
Richard Nixon had that nailed down, didn't he? It's the faggiest goddamn thing I ever saw. Although I think that might be Bohemian Grove.
Oh, Bohemian Grove's not to do with the Skull and Crossbones, but Skull and Crossbones people do go to Bohemian Grove.
And the coffin has a glass top. And so the bloke's lying in the coffin with a glass top, and all the other blokes are standing around it wanking off, and they jizz onto the top of the glass coffin, which sounds like fun.
For a minute, I just thought it was we were going to be a repetition of Tuesday's Grub and Glory, in which case, like, no, that's the Bavarian Illuminati. What does the shitting glass tables?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, Princess Diana and her death on the 13th arrondissement, or whatever it was called.
In the early hours of 31st of August 1997. I know people that were up at the time, and they said the early reports she was fine. She's just injured her leg.
Yeah, she faked her death, didn't she? She's in Dubai with Dodie, isn't she, at the moment? Like laughing at thing. She faked it all. They've got the money and the power to do stuff like that.
But did Fayed, because he went a bit mental, didn't he, following it?
Yeah, I thought I was going to say, like, before that happened, was it before or after? Like, her brother said in Parliament that like black magic was going on the Spencer estate, and apparently I've tried to find the actual quote, the source for that, but apparently he did say that in Parliament, like, which is really bloody weird, isn't it? And she's buried on this weird island, isn't she, with like 4 black swans?
Well, according to my grandmother, she was absolutely adamant that there was something went on, and her body is actually in the church in Brinkton.
Where's Brinkton?
Just down the road. That's the nearest village.
I've never thought that she was on that weird island that they've done, because they did that horrible sort of visitor attraction, didn't they? And all the leaves clogged up the fountain or something, didn't it? So it all went like wrong, and it's like, but was it done on purpose as one of these weird Illuminati like signals saying like, no, she's not really here?
Yeah.
And they're mocking us, like even the sort of, what do they call it? Like the sort of the tribute thing to her, the fountain or the pool, whatever it was. That'll get, that doesn't work. That's all messed up. And yeah.
Do you know what I think that the most fucked up? I mean, I'm not surprised at all that someone in royalty would be assassinated. I mean, it's just part and parcel of being in the royal family. But what really upset me about the whole thing is just that, what's his name? Elton John came out with a Candle in the Wind song, which became like a bestseller because you got all these saps going like, oh, if I buy this song, it means I'm being respectful to Diana and I really like this song. And ironically, I'm just like, oh, God, give me strength. This song is fucking shit. I hate Elton John. He's so disturbing.
Well, apparently his house is like kitted out with all Satanist artifacts by I forget the name of the bloke, that's some sort of like Italian interior designer, and like Elton John specifically chose him, and he's got all like satanic sort of trinkets everywhere, which doesn't surprise me. But,
well, like that
I mean,
spirit.
allegedly
Is he
used
like
for-
the He's like the artist version of that spirit cooking bird, then, is it? Maria Abramovich.
because because he holds that Eyes Wide Shut party, didn't he? That was in the papers, and all the guests arrived with like these weird masks, didn't they? These like featureless masks in their car. They were like photographed, and it's all weird shit, isn't it? Like,
I feel
I-
sorry
think
for
some
that
of it-
adopted kid.
Do you think some of it they just
If
play
I-
up? Do you think some of it they just play up to it to?
they do,
Wind-
but they get power from it, don't
wind the
they?
trolls
That's the
up.
thing. It's like, I think they're really doing it, and they're just mocking us. I think it's like they say, hidden in plain sight, isn't it? It's like people see this stuff and they say, "Oh, it's just like a joke," but I think it's real.
Well, you can literally be a naked man trying to escape from Buckingham Palace, falling to your death, and just some tourist women there will be just like titching, going like, "Oh, isn't it funny? We saw his willy as he fell to his death."
And they play the X-Files music at the end of the bloody news report. Yeah,
and it's just like this stuff is going on in plain sight. You can show it to people, and they're just like, "Wow, no, never mind. What's on the telly? Oh, Love Island. That's more interesting than what you've just said."
It's like the way they play the oh god, what's it called? The Queen's song. I can't think of it. Was it
The anthem.
Oh, what's it called? Like
God Save the Queen.
they play it at the end of the. They still play it at the end of Radio 4 transmitting, and they used to play it at the end of the TV programming before it was 24 hours. So
Yeah, I remember
that
that.
like seeps into your subconscious, doesn't it? Because you're all like you're about to go
Land
to
of Hope and
sleep.
Glory.
Yeah, they play that, and that seeps into your unconscious, doesn't it? And it just programs you to sort of just accept these flappy-eared inbreds to rule over us, you know.
It does if you stayed up at that time. And I must admit, I remember in my late teenage years listening to Land of Hope and Glory, and afterwards just the sort of the two-tone beep as they put the CFAX pages on.
Yeah.
I used to love CFAX. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Do you remember that quiz game, Bamboozle?
But yes, you know there was a way to cheat at Bamboozle.
How was that?
Well, I noticed like one of the pages it would always take you, and you could see the number as it was loading up the teletext was the commiserations, you got it wrong. And so like 3 of the answers you pressed would give it as wrong, and then like the 4th answer would be the right one. So if you just like quickly pressed all the red, green, blue and yellow ones, you'd just be like wrong. Ah, that one's right. It's showing a different page. So there you go. That's how to cheat Bamboozle.
You're only cheating yourself, I bet.
Well, that's it. Yeah. But those questions, they were real brain teasers. I mean, I did not understand them. But mind you, maybe one isn't supposed to understand them. Maybe that's the point. But not when you're like 12 years old or something.
So I'm just scanning the chat.
Have they said anything interesting?
Alabaster says there's a curse on the Spencer family, a toasted mushrooms curse.
I was just going to say that there is a roasted mushrooms curse. They have a habit of saying cringy things.
You got old Prince Philip, Mr. Virus Man. Yeah, it's kind of slipped out, didn't it?
I suppose
Prince Philip is dead.
Being that the Spencers.
Have you seen that picture of Prince Philip recently? That he's dead. That's a walking corpse. That is.
So's the Queen. I mean, she's like she's been reanimated like temporarily until they can find the right occult date to announce her death. I think she's just like fucking.
No, she's very good at holding on to her form, so the David Icke might have seen a shape shifting in front of his eyes, but nobody else has. I'm not taking the piss out of David Icke, by the way. I
So
like
have we
him.
got
I
any
saw
more?
him
I
at
like him,
Kaptain.
yeah.
Have we got any more on Diana? Have we? Or are we done? Or
I've got. I think I've got so many bloody notes. My mind's like melting. I can't. That's just like Princess Diana, Princess Dando. They're these blondes, aren't they? And what we got here? Yeah, here we go. Diana was 36 years old when she died, and Jill Dando was 37 years old when she died. So you got like the consecutive 36 and the 37. And if you like 3 times 6 times 37 is 666. And yeah, it's all a bit. I hate to go into all this like Kabbalistic stuff, but I think this is what they use. But the way they do it, Kabbalah is so boring. No one like believes it, do they? It's like the perfect sort of thing, isn't it?
Madonna's very into Kabbalah, but
Yeah.
she's into a lot of weird shit.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Someone was comparing to like the female version of Harvey Weinstein because it's like the only way you're going to be on one of her tours is if you have sex with her. So all those male dancers, have had sex with her.
Yeah, it's all odd. I've got another note here. It says like Prince William was the first ever member of the royal family to appear on the front cover of a gay magazine.
Wow.
That was called Attitude. That went on sale on the 22nd of June 2016, a day after his birthday.
Oh yeah, the male pattern baldness is just so alluring. But mind you, I mean, these magazines have got an agenda which doesn't, tie in with reality. I mean, that's why they say like the world's sexiest man is some Indian and not Ryan Gosling.
easy now, Hobbit.
No homo. But just objectively speaking, it's got to be him, right?
You've got to admit though, the Windsors age like milk, don't they?
Yeah.
I think that's how you can
tell you what,
how you can tell Harry isn't it?
You know how like they're definitely into eugenics, and they were there with the Darwins and the Galtons, and they were into that sort of stuff. I mean, they were into it before Darwin came up with the term eugenics, but I'm not sure if Darwin came up with that term, by the way. They're not really practicing what they preach or what they aspire to. Or maybe it's just incest is more important than getting,
certainly not
because
what they did,
like you said,
certainly not what they did to poor
with
Harry.
Diana.
Anyway.
No, and with the case of Diana, it was a case of we got to get her in. We need some new blood, fresh blood. I mean, that's how they described her. I mean, the Queen Mother was just sort of salivating, just like, yes, fresh blood, allegedly.
I think they did that for Prince William. Like, he's the man. He's going to take over because he's the Sun King, isn't he? Like I said before, his birth was artificially induced, so he was born on the summer solstice.
I think Kim Jong-un was as well. So it's fun to think that Kim Jong-un and Prince William share something in commonality there.
I think they've got something planned. I'm not sure what it is, because I mean, maybe he's going to take over and he's going to be the based King William. I think like he's going to maybe, because he hates his brother now, doesn't he? From what he's done with the miscegenation.
They're not getting on at all now.
I think he's going to take over and be based King William.
His son Prince George looks like a proper nobility.
Chadlet, is he? Chadpole.
Well, I was watching the way he was making. They did that thing about with the Chelsea pensioners and the Christmas pudding, and Prince George seems to be very happy to stab his wooden spoon into the mixture repeatedly. And I just thought, yeah, good on him.
Right.
I mean,
So
I know this stuff is propaganda, but at the same time, some of this propaganda stuff is good. Some of the propaganda reminds you, like, hey, yeah, this is something to be proud of.
we're going to go into Jill Dando now, are we? As she was called. Oh, she was called.
Well, she really are. It's a bit.
She was on that travel show, and I just thought, God, that must be a hard job traveling all over the world to say, oh, yeah, the sun's really nice here. Look at this beach.
And she was apparently investigating the pedo ring, wasn't she? That's one of the theories why she was bumped off. But
So
That was probably
Jill.
Do you
Jill
think it's
Wendy,
a case of the fact that? Oh,
Jill,
sorry, Hemi. I was just thinking.
go
Do
on.
you think it's a case of that when you're doing a show where you're a travel correspondent and everyone's taking the piss out of you, saying like, "Oh, you're living the life of Riley. I mean, how great is you got this job?" And she's like, "Oh, I need to do something substantive with my life so that people take me seriously. I know there's these pedos that are working in the BBC allegedly. I'm going to expose them, starting with Jimmy Savile, not allegedly because he was."
yeah, it's just sort of like, we can like connect the dots. But she was apparently investigating it quite seriously, and the next thing she's bumped off, like before it all spilled out into the media with Jimmy Savile.
So
This was pre that, wasn't it?
Jill Wendy Dando was born on the 9th of November 1961 and died on the 26th of April 1999. So there you go. She was born on 9/11/1961.
Yeah, there's the old
And if you
Cabbler
turn-
again. Like I
If
say,
you turn
yeah.
1961 upside down, it says 1961 again.
Oh, it's not a palindrome. There's another name for that thing.
Yeah.
There's magical squares that do that. Yeah, if you put certain magical squares in that digital type new numbers, if you turn it upside down, it reads the same upside down as the right way up. Yeah,
I think it is a palindrome because words like level, abracadabra, those are
No, palindrome is spelt the same backwards as it is forwards.
Yeah, so level, abracadabra, those are the same. You can mirror the words and it's still the same.
Yeah.
So 1961, you can mirror it and it's still 1961. But you can also rotate it, it's still 1961.
Yeah.
A magical time.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you get it in numbers as well. Like 666 is a palindrome, and things like that. 33, yeah.
Jill Dando's brother was also a journalist who worked for BBC Radio Bristol. And he was a journalist in local newspapers in the 70s. She was raised as a Baptist.
God, I've just got to refill my glass.
When she was 3 years old, it discovered she had a hole in her heart and a blocked pulmonary artery. She had heart surgery on the 12th of January 1965.
Pulmonary artery. Oh yeah, that's part of the.
That's one of your big
that's the
ones,
lungs, pulmons.
Is that one of your big ones?
Oh yeah, well, it's one of the prime ones because pulmonary system means your lungs, and the French for lungs is poumon. So yeah, you need your. Oh wait, the pulmonary artery is the only artery in the body which pumps deoxygenated blood. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten what the name of the vein is. What takes the blood from the lungs, which is oxygenated to the heart. But that vein is the only vein in the body what has oxygenated blood.
Right, so I shall carry on with the facts while Zero's busy. On the morning of 26th of April 1999, 37-year-old she was 37. You're wrong, Zero. Left Farthing's home in Chiswick. That's her fiance.
No, I said she was 37.
I thought you said she was 36.
She was 37. No, Diana was 36. She was 37. That gives us the 666.
She returned alone by car to the house she owned in Fulham, where she had lived in the house, but by April 1999 was in the process of selling it and did not visit it frequently. As Dando reached her front door about 11:32, she was shot once in the head. Her body was discovered about 14 minutes later by neighbour Helen Doble. Police were called at
I
11:47.
thought you were going to say our body was found by Barry George there for some reason. I don't know why.
Dando was
How
taken.
weird would it be if it was by Barry Scott?
Dando was taken to the nearby Charing Cross Hospital, where she was declared dead on arrival at 13:03 BST. As Dando was about to put her keys,
Summertime.
yeah. As Dando was about to put her keys in the lock to open the front door in her home in Fulham, she was grabbed from behind. With his right arm, the assailant held her and forced her to the ground so that her face was almost touching the tiled step of the porch. Then with his left hand, he fired a single shot in her left temple, killing her instantly. The bullet entered her head just above her ear, parallel to the ground, and came out the right side of her head. Forensic study indicated Dando had been shot by a bullet from a 9mm caliber semi-automatic pistol, with the gun pressed at her head at the moment of the shot. Richard Hughes, her next-door neighbour, heard a surprised cry from Dando like someone greeting a friend, but heard no gunshot. Hughes looked out of his front window while not realising...
No, Harry, I'm going to call a hoax on that. Well, because as we all know, 9mm pistols and 9mm ammunition was specifically made illegal after the Dunblane massacre. So not only are handguns banned, but that one's doubly banned. So she couldn't have been shot with a 9mm pistol in the United Kingdom because they're banned. So there's no way the assailant could have got hold of a pistol.
Hughes looked out of his front window while not realising what had happened. He made the only certain sighting of the killer, a 6-foot-tall white man aged around 40, walking away from Dando's house. So that's the facts.
That was a professional hit, the right temple. Yeah, I mean that's what they're taught to do, isn't it? It's like if you want to knock someone unconscious, you go for the right temple. That's the like soft spot of the human brain. Yeah, that was a professional hit. Yeah.
What happens if you hit the right temple? I'm sure that'll cause.
No, the right temple. That's where you hit. Yeah.
No, it went left.
I don't
The
mean
bullet
left
went left to
temple.
right.
Oh, I don't know about the left temple. I suppose that probably wouldn't be very nice, would it? I don't know. But...
Yeah, he shot her left to right because he shot with his left hand.
Because she lived on Gowan Avenue, which I find interesting, because Gowan sounds very much like Cowan, doesn't it? Which is like the Freemasonic term for an outsider of the Brotherhood, like Gowan Cowan. I don't know. Curious. But what a strange, like, just what a strange sort of road to live on for someone like that to happen to them. But I don't know.
Bizarre.
It's all pre-planned, by some sort of satanic intelligence where people live and their names and the date they die, and I don't know.
I don't know what to make of that.
Because, as I said before, like Barry George, the guy who was fitted up for the Dando murder, like he also stalked Princess Diana, and like that's fucking bizarre, isn't it? These two blonde women, like high-profile blonde women, and they're both stalked by this strange guy, who to me looks like an obvious, like textbook mind-controlled patsy. He dresses up as an SAS bloke and like this fantasist, and
well, he had that retarded haircut. Did you see the documentary about it? He had that retarded haircut as well, didn't he?
Well, yeah. Well, apparently he dressed up with a rubber SAS mask, armed himself with a dagger and a nylon rope, and he tried to break into Kensington Palace when Princess Diana and Prince Charles was there, like according to the Sun newspaper. The 2nd of August 2008, page 4. If anyone wants to look it up,
I thought he had.
He's like there as a bloody patsy, isn't he?
I thought he had some sort of like neurological disease where he couldn't possibly pull a trigger on a gun, let alone hold her in position while he pulled a trigger on a gun.
He thought he was the Bionic Man, didn't he? In his weird fantasy world, he thought he was the Bionic Man. He thought he was a cross between the Bionic Man and an SAS soldier.
So he's a patsy.
Yeah, he just looks like he's a textbook lone nutter,
fantasist.
isn't he? Like
I don't know. He had some papers in his house though, didn't he? So he had some newspapers.
Yeah, that's
and Jill Dando was possibly in one of them. So
incontrovertible proof that he's got some old newspapers with like bird shit on them and dodgy shit on them or something.
And one of them
Well, he had-
possibly had a picture of Jill. A couple of them probably had Jill Dando in them. So there you go.
Sort of-
Open and shut. Open and shut case.
Apparently, he had an IQ of 75, which is pretty. It's not a good start for anyone, is it? So,
Not really.
yeah, but I mean, he's a classic like mind control patsy, isn't he? I mean, Jesus, there was no evidence, was there? It was like one tiny microscopic gunshot residue fleck, which he could have got from anywhere. You know, I mean, I've probably got a microscopic fleck of all sorts of like evidence on me at the moment. You know, it's like.
All right, okay. So if somebody's got like an IQ of 75, that means they're considered a vulnerable adult, and unless they happen to be ooga booga, but these sort of people, ones which we should be looking afterwards, the village idiot, and they're just sort of set up as like, oh yeah, he definitely pulled off this assassination of our, a very public celebrity figure in the United Kingdom, and he managed to procure a 9mm pistol, even though they're banned,
and sort of worked it out and got away with it scot-free, or
he did professional assassination.
Even though he's a total fucking potato, he managed to take that off no problem.
He's a total fucking potato, yet he's got the skills of John Wick when it comes to shooting someone in the head. Was it one shot or was it twice? You were cutting out a bit when you were describing the murder, Hemi.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it's just a single shot, weren't it? Yeah, it's very professional.
Yeah, single shot. He held her down, shot her with his left hand. Where is it?
That's hardcore because I've always heard from the SCS it's supposed to be a double tap. Once to stop them, twice to send them down.
Where was it again?
But what would I know about killing?
So what they're saying? So basically, what he did was he grabbed her from behind with his right arm. The assailant held her and forced her to the ground so that her face was almost touching the tiled step of the porch. Then with his left hand, he fired a single shot at her left temple, killing her instantly. The bullet entered her head just above her ear, parallel to the ground, and came out the right side of her head. That's not a left temple, then, is it?
And they're not saying he's an idiot savant.
Yeah.
So they're not saying he's an idiot savant who, hasn't got the wherewithal to tie his own shoelaces, but or even wipe his ass. But when it comes to using pistols and procuring them, master, genius.
But like I said, that is genius, though, isn't it? Because there he is. He's the man. He's in prison, so we don't have to investigate it anymore, do we? Because it's him.
How about this one? The original. This is one bit from the original police investigation. Said they had explored the possibility of a contract killing, but since Dando was living with her fiance and was only rarely visiting her Fulham residence, it was considered unlikely that a professional assassin would have been sufficiently well informed about Dando's movements to have known what time she was going to be there. CCTV evidence of Dando's last journey, mainly security video recordings from the shopping centre she visited on her way home, did not show any sign of her being followed.
Yeah, but how could CCTV show if you're being followed? I mean, it's just you got to have someone on the ground, following the person who's following her.
What they did very, very quickly, they found themselves a patsy to set up, and then come out with this other bullshit story about Bosnian, Serb, or Yugoslav. Because she did. That just
doesn't fly, does it?
Yeah,
the Bosnian story, nah. I mean, why would they bother? I mean, it's
a load of bollocks.
I mean, the Bosnians are more concerned with killing Muslims in their own land. They're not going to come over here and risk the bad press of it. If that was to come out, it's going to affect their cause, isn't it? I just don't see that at all. Nah.
So, following the Jimmy Savile sexual abuse scandal, a claim was made that Dando had investigated the paedophile ring at the BBC during the mid-90s and had handed a dossier containing her findings to the BBC management, purportedly prompting a revenge attack. Well, what's the point of doing a revenge attack after they've handed the dossier over and nobody's done anything with it?
Yeah.
So, out of speculation, based on what we know about how, would she have been better off presenting her evidence to the BBC or to the police, knowing all we do about how unscrupulous certain elements in society are?
Unless she handed the dossier to the BBC and then the BBC handed it straight to Savile, and that's why she got killed.
Well, this is where it ties in with Diana, because I think it's like, where did she get the information about this paedophile ring? And I think she got it from her fiance, who was that gynecologist Alan Farthing, because he appeared in Crime Watch UK, which she presented. They did they did a reconstruction of her death, didn't they? In May 1999. So
Yeah.
she's the presenter of Crime Watch. She gets killed, and then Crime Watch UK do a bloody reconstruction of her.
Do you think that's another
like
example?
that Alan Farling guy.
Do you think that's another
Well,
example?
that's one of these
the people who
mocking
did it
things,
mocking
isn't it?
her?
They just you're turned into a robot.
Oh fucking!
Yeah, you'll have to repeat all that.
This is fucking shit tonight.
Can't wait for this promised Shangri-La where Hammy will get a decent...
Yeah. I mean, for fuck's sake. What?
Today it's fucking voice meter playing up today. Yeah, what I was saying is, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh,
Alan Farthing, her fiance.
I've completely gone now. Whatever that thought was, it's gone. It might come
Well, I'm
back.
saying that's where she got the information about the pedo ring.
Oh, that's it.
Like,
Yeah, it's
that
like
gynecologist.
it's like the people who did it. If it was the people at the BBC, it's like they're mocking her, isn't it, by doing the reconstruction on the programme?
Well, yeah, that's that whole mocking thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like this Alan Farthing guy, like in 2008, he was appointed as the new surgeon gynecologist to Queen Elizabeth II. So, like, he was moving in these royal circles, and he's going out with Jill Dando. So, I think that's where she got all this information about this pedo ring. But because the royals are involved in it, you know, like Prince Charles and Jimmy Savile,
Allegedly, they
and
are.
that's well, allegedly, yeah. Allegedly,
Allegedly.
yeah.
You say allegedly enough, and that means you don't get sued for libel.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But yeah, I mean, you know, when you're moving in those circles, you do hear things. I mean, it's just human nature, isn't it? You're going to hear like what's going on with these, like, because it does exist. Like, I mean, people don't think, oh, look, Miss Joe and Jill in the street. They don't seem to believe it, but you know, the higher up the pyramid you go, the weirder it gets, and you got like child sacrifice and sex with demons. Like, well, it's not funny, but I think that is what happened, what goes on, and yet.
Oh, well, this one then.
All we're fed is like fucking not Prince Charles, was it?
How about this one then?
On the night, or most people live in a soap opera world, don't they?
On the night of her death, Dando's BBC colleague Nick Ross said on Newsnight that retaliatory attacks by criminals against police, lawyers and judges were almost unknown in the UK. Finally, forensic examination of the cartridge case and bullet recovered from the scene attack suggested that the weapon used had been the result of a workshop conversion of a replica or decommissioned gun. It was argued that a professional assassin would not use such a poor quality weapon. The police therefore soon began to favour the idea the killing had been carried out by a crazed individual acting on an opportunist basis. This assumed profile of the perpetrator led to the focus on Barry George. That just sounds like absolute bullshit to me, doesn't it you?
I mean, just looking at Barry George, you're going to say, like, is he like a highly trained assassin? Like, he's a spudhead. It's just like how they managed to like play that into like the courts. You know, the actual court. You know, you got this spudhead standing there. Like, he probably don't even know what day it is, and he's suddenly this like.
You can imagine that in court, couldn't you? Here we are. Look at this bloke. What a spudhead. Don't worry, Baz. Don't worry, Baz. I'm your defence. Don't worry, mate. This absolute useless retard.
It's like, he's got the fucking newspapers. He's guilty. Like fucking end of. You know.
Yeah. Like, he has the newspapers. He's watched Who Dares he's watched Who Dares Wins and CI5.
Oh God. But they pulled it off, didn't they? I mean, I don't know. Fucking hell.
Well, they got they got him long enough for the the trail to go cold, because that's what the idea is of these show trials, isn't it? It's to let the trail go cold.
Just shuts it all down, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's just to distract people's attention. I mean, I looked at, we got this box going on around at the moment, which, it looks a bit more severe than flu. And what's the news in America? It's just like, there's a rise of anti-Semitism. It's like, well, that's not news, is it? But it's just like, is there not anything that's perhaps more newsworthy, more in the public interest? No. Definitely need to talk about how, what one people are saying mean things towards one another, not how, blood seeping out of Chinese eyes.
Yeah, it's very weird. I've been listening to BBC Radio 4 just lately, just for the fun of it, and my God, I mean, people do say it's like a propaganda wing for this.
When you say fun, do you also mean like, oh yes, I once hit my testicles with a hammer. That was fun.
Yeah, it's a bit masochistic, but I couldn't believe it. The amount of propaganda on that radio, the state-sponsored or taxpayer-funded thing. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Every second program is just like globalist propaganda. I mean,
that reminds me. I need to put Radio 5 live on tomorrow for the Brexit Day stuff. The last time I put it on was the day after the election. I really enjoyed that coverage. Listening to them all in morning.
Oh, you think it'll be amusing, will it? I might tune in myself.
Yeah, they'll be crying on it. The day after the election, it was just like salt all over the place. It was salt mining.
But again, I mean, 48% of people did vote to remain, so it wasn't really a sort of landslide victory, was it? But I'm glad it bloody happened. But, yeah. But you got this,
it's a massive win considering how much the Illuminati, how much the powers that be tried to put their thumb on the scale, isn't it?
Yeah, the amount of propaganda they threw at us to sort of like.
I was surprised that the vote to leave the European Union was successful, because I just thought to myself, no, they're going to cook the books. They'll just fudge their numbers.
I think they did. I think they did fudge the numbers, but they didn't fudge the numbers enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, they were going to do it, but there was too many votes there wasn't enough manpower to fudge the vote. They didn't have enough people on the ground.
No, well, they all bought into the polling, didn't they? And that was their downfall, wasn't it? Because they all bought into the polling. They thought they'd done it, so they didn't fiddle it by enough of a percentage, I think is what happened.
I'm so glad. I mean, worst comes to worst, we don't get the leaving from the European Union. At least we got the song called 17 Million Fuck Offs.
I heard that, yeah.
I've got a copyright strike.
Oh, I'm sure you've heard that song.
We played it at the end
we can't play it, can we?
Grub and Glory once.
Something about it being played on the Grub and Glory episode.
Played it at the end.
Yeah. If you look for it, the Brexit song, 17 Million Fuck Offs.
Oh, really? Yeah. Sounds good.
There's a new version with an extra verse.
Oh, yeah, all the people that said they're going to leave the United Kingdom, so... Yeah, hurry up, guys.
Right, so... I was going to say...
Is anyone reading the chat? Are we ignoring the chat? I hate ignoring the chat. I can't multitask. I'm a male.
Chat's a bit on the slow side tonight.
Well, I could... I think chat's engrossed in what we're saying, and they're just like, yeah, carry on, guys. We're waiting with bated breath here. Tell us more about Jill Dando and the sped what shot her with... So you managed to convert a replica firearm into firing... So he managed to convert a firearm that wasn't into a working firearm, and then he managed to get hold of 9mm bullets. What can you get them in Tesco, Asda or something?
Can you imagine Barry George like walking into the local dodgy pub saying, like, all right, everyone, you got any bullets?
No,
you
I
know.
don't go
he's
good.
just like he's just shuffling into Asda, and he's looking at the potatoes and thinking, my ancestor. And then he's like taps on the employees on the shoulders. Excuse me, you got any bullets for this gun? And then presents the gun to him.
He takes
You
it
got-
down the pub, doesn't he? And sort of like flashes it about. Like, oh god.
Oh, there's no buy one get one free. Well, I'll have to buy just one then.
Oh,
It's like,
Barry George's real name is Barry Bulsara. Isn't that the same surname as Freddie Mercury?
Why does Barry George, a 75 IQ sped, have a false name? What deception is he trying to do?
Because he
there?
can't spell
What is it with all these
Bulsara.
like, assassinations? He like,
He can only spell George.
what is it with all? What is it with all these like weird stories in like with the Dunblane massacre? All these like weird, like really just like, hang on, what's going on here?
Whoa,
Where it's
hold
like,
on a sec. Hold on a sec. At 14, George attended the publicly funded Heathermount boarding school in Sunningdale, Berkshire, for children with emotional and behavioural difficulties. After leaving school without qualifications, his only employment was as a messenger at BBC Television Centre on a fixed-term contract for 6 months.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not going to say every single time, but every single time.
It's like Barry, mate. You look a bit weird today. Come and see the psychiatrist. Like, have a bit of a session with the psychiatrist. It'll hypnotise you. There's nothing to worry about. Like, but you might like start thinking that you want to kill like TV presenters. But don't worry about it because the aliens will come and whisk you off afterwards in their flying saucers. Like.
Remember to tune into Women's Hour on Radio 4 to get your instructions.
Okay, then. So Barry George, are we going to do we want to go into Barry George? Barry George adopted several pseudonyms, starting at school when he used the name Paul Gadd. Good choice. Real name was Larry Glitter.
AKA SAS Bionic Man. Yeah.
What's the next one?
This is bullshit.
So
They're just taking the piss.
So he stated his occupation as unemployed musician and former managing director of a company that handled 3 rock bands.
I'm calling bollocks on all of this.
So next he said he was Jeff Lynne's...
I know what rock bands he managed. Does it say what rock bands he managed?
No, it don't. So the next thing he said he was Jeff Lynne's cousin from the from Real Life. And created a fictional company called Xanadu Constructional and Mechanical Engineers. So in 1980 he joined the TA and was discharged the following year. Then he adopted the persona. Then he adopted the persona of SAS member Tom Palmer, one of the soldiers who ended the 1980 Iranian embassy siege.
That's laughing at another level, isn't it?
This guy is prolific. He gets about, doesn't he?
So then he was charged with two counts of indecent assault. He was acquitted of one and convicted of the other. So next he assumed the identity of Steve Majors and claimed to be a stuntman. He
thought he was the Bionic Man.
No, that's not even the best bit. Stadium to stage a show in which he jumped over 4 double-decker buses on roller skates and injured himself attempting the stunt.
This guy should have been. This guy should have been on Record Breakers, the most highest achieving 75 IQ sped.
He deserves a medal, doesn't he?
The most amount of bullshit produced by one man, isn't it?
In the fair society, for what they did, they should have been giving this guy an OBE for services rendered.
How about this one then? So then he was jailed in 1982. He attempted rape of a woman in Acton, for which he served 18 months, which is the 3 6s, of a 33-month sentence.
Yeah, there you go. Like, they are taking the piss. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you go. George had been found in the grounds of Kensington Palace At that time, the home of Prince Charles and Diana, Princess of Wales, he'd been discovered hiding in the grounds wearing a balaclava and carrying a poem he'd written to Prince Charles. Fucking hell. And in 1989, he married a 35-year-old Japanese student called Itsuko Toidi. In what Toidi described as a marriage of convenience.
He's not the average fantasist, is he?
He doesn't...
He's certainly not the average fantasist laugher,
I think maybe he did do it.
He's fucking doing the business. He's doing the business, isn't he? He's out there doing it.
In April 1990 and again in January 92, he was arrested and charged with indecent assault. Neither case went to court. Before his trial for the Dando murder, George was diagnosed with Asperger's. Prosecution psychologists studying George concluded he had several different personality disorders. Antisocial, histrionic, narcissistic and possibly paranoid, as well as somatization and factitious disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He was said to be epileptic and have an IQ of 75. However, a prior assessment found George to be of average assessment. George had also been likened to a lone obsessive Walter Mitty type figure with his desire to impersonate famous figures. I don't know. I think maybe he did do it.
In other words, he was a complete fucking loon. Yeah.
Is he like the jackal? Is that what it is? That was his greatest character ever. Barry George, 75 IQ sped. That was the best character he ever played.
No, I was only pretending to be an assassin and genius. I'm actually really dumb.
Have you seen No Fun Zone's comment? This is the most high achieving spastic in the world.
Well, that's why I'm saying you should have been on Record Breakers. Chris Akabusi should have been presenting him with a medal.
Did he actually jump over those double-decker buses on roller skates?
No, he injured himself.
Or was that his fantasy
he injured himself in the attempt.
Did he actually try? He actually tried to.
Jesus Christ.
That's fucking weird.
Fuck it. He got some stuff done to the old boy, didn't he?
Yeah. Fucking hell.
He makes me feel like an underachiever.
Yeah. He's got 75 IQ. What's your excuse, Hobbit?
Well, at least I've never assassinated Jill Dando.
Yeah, but he did it and got away with it.
Wait, did he?
I'm convinced now. I mean, after reading all that,
you think he didn't? They banged him up.
After reading all that, you think he didn't kill her?
I don't know. No, I really don't know what to believe. I mean, they've made the story so far-fetched. I genuinely do not know what is true about it, if anything.
He's probably the mastermind, isn't he? He's the mastermind behind all this Illuminati stuff.
He is Kaiser Sose. He is Kaiser Sose, isn't he?
You know, I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I mean, even if you're leaving someone like me scratching my head, you know this is like one of the most convoluted and complex stories in the history of whodunits ever.
I don't know how many levels of chess this boy's playing, but he's right up there, isn't he?
He's a grand fucking master, that's for sure.
He's Kaiser Sose, isn't he? It's like the end of The Usual Suspects, isn't it? Where he drops the old spazzy arm and walks off into the sunset.
That is, isn't it? I hope he got a good old compensation payout at the end of it all. Maybe he is like in like the Bahamas somewhere, isn't he? Like sticking two fingers up, isn't he? With his milkmaids or something. I don't know.
Can you imagine if he was doing a podcast right now, doing like a travelogues thing where he drets around various places in the world, and all he does is
he went for 1.4 and didn't get it.
I was going to say he's just visiting like previous sites Jill Dando covered in a travel show.
Yeah.
Oh, he accepted an undisclosed amount from News Group newspapers, which is Robert Murdoch's group, over articles published in The Sun and the News of the World. But So in May 2010, they settled with George after claims unrelated to the Dando murder that he developed an obsession with singer Cheryl Cole and newsreader Kay Burley.
God, she's next on the list, isn't she? Liz Hurley.
This boy's a legend, isn't it?
They need to do like some sort of story about him with Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon doing his life.
Yeah, we need the biopic. Yeah, definitely.
Jesus Christ. As I said before, he's got 75 IQ. What's your excuse?
I cannot hold a candle to this man and his achievements.
Shall we go ultra woo-woo then with the Dando Radio Times cover?
Zero. There's nothing we can do which is as woo-woo compared to Life and Times of Barry George.
No, that does beat it. Yeah, that's fucking amazing, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a guy! What a guy!
He's like Ace Rimmer, isn't he?
Smoke me a kibble skipper. I'll be back in time for breakfast.
Cut me a kipper skipper. I'm just gonna jump these 4 double-decker buses on roller skates.
Yeah, that is class. That is like the.
Can you believe he actually got a stadium to set it up for him as well? What the fuck?
The actual like mindset of someone who thinks like, I'm going to put on roller skates and I'm going to jump over 4 double-decker buses. That is next level stuff.
What a guy!
That's some serious will to power. That is, isn't it?
It certainly is. That's for sure.
Well, here we are. Here's a bit of woo-woo here. Like, there's Jill Dando. Like, this is the Radio Times, which for listeners, that's the listings magazine for BBC Radio. And there's Jill Dando with a lot of overt and covert occult symbolism going on here that sort of eerily predicts her imminent demise, because this was before she was killed. And she's standing in front of a driverless James Bond 007 car that's about to hit her with no one at the wheel, which symbolises the fact that no one's going to be discovered who killed her. And there she is, dressed in black leather, like the skins of the beast. And there and look at the back cover, like, couldn't you just murder? Like, and there she is, like, vroom. And if you look at the top, that says, like, what does it say? Hang on. That says, the best of British TV. Who's up for a BAFTA? And if you put like BAFTA into the ordinal cipher, BAFTA has the numerical equivalent of 30, which equals FBI, CIA, which seals it for me. I mean, that is just like brimming with symbolism. Those 2 covers, that's the front and back cover of the Radio Times. Like, that is just odd. Because obviously she's aping Diana Rigg out of the Avengers, isn't she? With her like full length leather gear and.
I really fancy Diana Rigg.
Oh God, yeah, she's the ultimate. Yeah, bloody hell.
She was much better than Joanna Lumley.
Yeah, and she was a bit of a Diana Airhead,
girl.
Weren't she, Joanna Lumley? Yeah,
and she was a.
I mean, why does everyone say Joanna Lumley was Britain's sexiest woman? Have they not seen Diana Rigg?
God, she is the ultimate. Yeah, I could know. But anyway, Dando's standing in front of a Mark II Aston Martin DB6, and that's like James Bond's car. That is an actual James Bond car. So it's obviously saying like MI6 killed Diana, because she was investigating the pedo ring.
Anglosaurus Rex, he says, why don't I get a notification from the stream? I have to go looking for it. I had to do exactly the same thing as well. It's just, it's the usual sort of funny buggers.
I did set up the original notification for it, but I'm using a different Streamlabs tonight. That might be why the thing didn't go through.
Oh, I was going to say it was just YouTube do it playing funny buggers.
Yeah, I think they do.
If I can bore Pete.
I was
If I can bore
I was just
people
going to
with
say
some
quick. It's like
Kabbalistic stuff.
sometimes Bruce's streams don't show up as being live in the left hand column, do they?
Mm. Yeah, they do mess with it. Yeah, they mess with it. Yeah, I've even like comments on people on conspiracy channels, and they just don't show up. You know, it's like
That's a conspiracy.
It's just like that. Is there someone like deleting it? I don't know, but stuff's got. Maybe it's just like overloaded servers, but I'm not so sure. I bet like the Bolton stamp collector channel, they don't get like messed about with, do they? You know,
Or
all the
PewDiePie.
yeah.
Those I'll go through.
Or Mark Collett.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject, you know, it's like yeah. Well, anyway, if I can bore you with some Kabbalah, like you see, if you look in between Dando's legs, you can see part of the car's number plate.
Whoa.
It's like F472. You add 472 and you obtain like F13. And by this ordinal cipher, that's the number of like MI6. Like MI6 is 139F. And if you add that, which is like 1, 3, and 9, you get back to 13F. So you go from F13, reversed palindromed, back to 13F, which looks like a cipher flag to me. But yeah, it's just bloody odd. Like there it is. There's the number plate, and if you apply the cipher, there you go. It's like MI6 again. It's just like yeah. It's just like
so
odd.
Strange.
The whole thing is odd. Like the Dando killing is far more weirder than the Princess Diana killing, I think, because it's more like it's more real, isn't it? Because it's all about this pedo stuff that's going on.
Yeah. I've really been feeling under the weather recently. I feel like I'm lost at sea at the moment. But I never looked into the Jill Dando thing. It's so strange in so many ways.
Mm. It's almost like there's a sort of evil satanic intelligence behind cases like this, where all these things, all these connections and all these things, it's almost like it's pre-planned by some sort of like genius criminal intelligence that we can't seem to sort of, no one really knows what's going on. It's just,
well, there's certainly a
bizarre,
devious genius behind these things. So I think that's indisputable.
Because I mean, if these, which I do solemnly believe that these people are doing like satanic pedophile like rituals to contact demons, so I suppose if they are in league with these demons, maybe they arrange it between themselves to do these weird things. But why they would want to do it is another thing. I mean, why don't you just be happy with your mansion in the country and your money? But they seem to want. They seem to want to fuck. Yeah, they want to fuck with the world more, don't they? And the people more. Kind of.
It's never enough for them. It's never like, oh, I've got $20 million. Yeah, I need 40 million.
Yeah. And when they get so much money as coming out of their ears, then they go really like vampiric and monsterish, and they just play these little games to just mess with people's heads and sort of laugh at it. And it's very bizarre. It's sort of like pathetic, really, isn't it? It's sort of pathetic. Like,
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Poor old Jill Dando. Yeah, God.
Don't even know what to say now.
Yeah.
You've got me. I am flabbergasted. I can't even think of a tangent, but it's tangentially related to what you've just said.
It's just this world is like, it's like a stepped locale, like the old stepped pyramid, isn't it? It's just a stepped locale. Like, most of us are at the bottom and we don't really know what's going on. But the higher you go up the pyramid, the weirder it gets until you get to the very top. And then you got this like weird single eye at the top of it. And I think that's got to be some sort of like weird non-human intelligence. And that's what these cults and these people are trying to get in. trying to get in contact with and are in contact with throughout history. And
Yeah.
but again, it's like, what the fuck? Why bother? You know, it's like, well, I can see why they do it, because it's fascinating, isn't it, to like these weirdo people. But at the end of the day, all you're really doing is just like moving the building blocks around, aren't you? I mean, I don't see what they're going to gain from it. You can move the building blocks around, but oh, have I cut out?
No, I can hear you still.
All right, yeah.
I'm back. I had to tend to matters.
But again, I suppose, like, in their worldview, this is all there is, isn't it? It's like all we've got is what we can play with, isn't it? Like Play-Doh or Lego. It's like all they can do is play with what's here. And but they seem to really get off on this weird sort of like sort of creepy, evil stuff, which I find, why don't you do good things rather than bad things? It's just, why don't you sort of, I don't want to sort of get...
Isn't there those people that have that philosophy of that, well, the way to get Jesus back is to either do really good things or do really evil things?
Yeah, the Sabbatean Frankists, yeah. I've got the big book about all that. Yeah, it's a fascinating book. Yeah, by Gershom Scholem, I think, all about Sabbati Ziva. Yeah, that is weird shit. But yeah, that certainly is connected to what I was just saying. Yeah, it's like they want to manipulate the world to bring. I think I mentioned this on a former show. It's like we rule this world, like humans rule the physical world, and like demons rule these other worlds. But a certain tribe or a certain cult on this planet want to bring the demons into this world so they can rule this world because they're fucked up in the head. And it's not going to end good, but this is what they're trying to do. And that seems to be, this must be the reason why they're doing all this weird shit.
Do you think certain people have made a deal with the devil, and that's like the devil's like,
yeah,
okay, no, I'm calling in my debts.
Well, Bob Dylan admitted to it pretty much on that famous interview he did. Yeah, that he made a pact with the devil. Yeah, and you got Robert Johnson, the blues player. He was like a sped like Barry George, and then apparently one night he went to the Crossroads, did a deal with the devil, and he returns this gifted guitar player. Yeah.
What did he do? Like 31 songs, or did he die at the age of 31? Something to do with the age?
I'm not sure, but I think these things can be done. These pacts, but I mean, it's like, why the hell would you do it? I mean, it's not going to end well, is it? It's like the whole Faust myth, isn't it? It's like, although Faust gets a bad name, though. Faust wasn't really trying to like. He was trying to sort of understand the world on an intellectual level. He wasn't doing it to try and sort of amass wealth and that. But it's the same sort of thing. Yeah. What's that?
Faust. It was for his woman. That's why he made the deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Faust was trying to do it. He made a pact with the devil to understand the world and the intellectual on an intellectual level. Yeah. But these fuckers, they're doing it. I don't know what. That's how they're doing it. They want demons to rule this planet. That's what.
How
that's what
much
doing.
more money? How much more money do they need? How much more money do
Well, that's
they
the
want?
thing, isn't it?
It's crazy.
But they don't even need the money, because it's just a case of like, well, if they can make it out of thin air, then it just makes a mockery of the whole system. I think the only thing now is you can sort of say for plebs like us, where you have to work for your money. It's just a case of, well, by inflating it and therefore devaluing the cost of inflation is a tax on the poor. So in other words, they're just sapping energy from people by making more money out of thin air.
Well, in this Sabbatis Zevi type thing, that they say, like, if they can make this world so horrible and so evil, then their Messiah's going to come, innit? And like, he can only come when the world's so evil. It's got to such a point where he has to come and do what he does or sort it out or something. But
do you
that's
think
just
the Pope is that guy, or is he like the herald of the Antichrist?
Yeah, I don't know about. I know like the Vatican has definitely been infiltrated by satanic homosexuals, and that's why there was that triple murder, wasn't there, inside the Vatican walls? And I mean, every time you see like violent death and bloodshed, that's demonic. Like that's the hand of the demonic inside the actual sacred walls of the Vatican. I mean, that shows how far they've infiltrated it. But
I'm told Vatican means Council of Sorcerers. I mean, before then it used to be called the Papacy. So unless someone can say, oh, actually, no, Vatican means this, but I'm told Vatican, Vaticos, Council of Sorcerers. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not a good thing. I think there's even a bit in the Bible that says, yeah, don't do sorcery, that's evil.
Shouldn't suffer a
because the thing is,
you shouldn't suffer a witch to live, isn't it? Is from the Bible.
Suffer not the witch live. Yeah.
That's why I'm not sort of anti-sorcery, because it's like, yeah, these things do exist. Like whether they're parts of our subconscious mind, or whether they're independent sentient entities, it's like you don't get anything for nothing in this life. So
yeah, but I thought this stuff was supposed to rebound. It doesn't seem to be rebounding on them, does it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Because it's like, say I conjured a demon to get me money. It's like these demons aren't there just to be our slaves and to provide us with money. They want something in return. So it's
the monkey's paw, like we said last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just best to leave that stuff alone, because like you're dealing with things that are far more intelligent than us.
And, any bargain you make with these demons, you'll always be worse off for it, no matter what you ask for. And people think, oh yeah, I can trick them, and I reckon that's a lot of the hubris of certain tribes, where they just think, oh yeah, we can out argue them. We're good at being lawyers. We can trick them into getting the best bargain, the best deal. And that arrogance is going to come to pay them in dividends.
Well, it don't seem to be working at the moment, does it?
Most of these medieval grimoires were written by a certain tribe, to sort of like, get the one up over God, and sort of, like trick God so they can contact the demons and get loads of money and power. And but it's just obviously not a good thing to get into, is it? Like get into stamp collecting or like vintage car restoration, don't get into like demonology, because
imagine making a pact with the devil to say, I can't find this piece of linkage for this one-of-a-kind car, bring it to me. And suddenly you're rummaging through your sock drawer. It's just like, what on earth is a Daimler D-Type doing in my sock drawer? It's like, no, I own your soul.
But like stuff like that does happen. But it's like, because I've heard things of like, I knew someone who was doing all this sort of stuff, and his dog exploded.
What?
Like, his dog exploded. Like that's what I was told. And not in a sort of like spectacular way, but his dog exploded in, his guts exploded. It didn't like explode out of his skin, but his dog just exploded one night and died.
All right, because when you're saying explosion, I immediately think of that scene in The League of Gentlemen where the vet, Mr. Chinnery, comes to help. A dog's got constipation and he's near the fire and he's got trapped gas and there is an explosion. And it's really over the top and it's so slapstick. Even just thinking about it makes me want to laugh.
Yeah, but I don't know. People do strange things, don't they? But
say it ain't so. Really?
Well, yeah, it's just like,
get out of town. Next, you'll be telling me that Barry Scott actually did kill.
I think Ankylosaurus Rex wants to ask a question.
Oh, I thought are we still here?
We're still on.
Yeah, ask us some questions. Yeah, because I'm just like I'm in my sort of like reformed occultist mode at the moment.
Reformed occultist.
I don't know. I'm a reformed occultist, but I just can't go get behind the Christ thing, because that seems like part of of the mind control as well. Like, I think there's something beyond all this stuff that
Yeah, but there's got to be a
that
reason that
is
our
it's
friends
like
in the small hats,
beyond.
our friends in the small hats, really, really fear Jesus.
Yeah,
They have a real
they're
hatred
really
for
they fear
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah, and they're really into this demonic stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
But to be fair, so are the Muslims. They're really into it as well. But they don't talk about it, but they're really into it as well. So
Oh, for God's sake, Anglosaurus. paranormal questions, mate.
I'll answer anything if anyone wants to say anything. We'll answer anything. Yeah, we're an
have you seen?
all-comer
Oh,
thing
go on
here.
then. I'll ask you this one. Have you seen? They've been running old Mike Graham through the ringer. Have you seen any of that stuff?
I must admit, I don't know Mike Graham.
It's a talk radio.
Hello.
It used to be on Talk Sport. He used to do the show with. Do you know Mike Parry?
I'm back now.
I used to watch it when Caesar the Geezer was on there. He was pretty good.
I remember Caesar the Geezer, and then he got replaced by James Whale.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Anglosaurus Rex, he was saying that is this chat purely paranormal? Can chat ask questions? By all means, I appreciate when the chat participates because it means we have to do less work.
Yeah, that's why I like it. Yeah.
Speaking of doing less work, I haven't had dinner. Do you guys mind if I go to KFC briefly?
No problems. I don't think.
No, I've got my cheese rolls. Yeah.
I don't think we'll be
pick
going
up
for
the
much
slack.
longer anyway, will we?
Oh, I'm going to have a ham sandwich. Mute.
Right.
Well, it's like what I just said. The thing is, like, we're here on this planet where we know we're going to die, and apparently we are the only creatures on this world that know that we're going to die. So that's why I think that this world, this existence, must have a spiritual aspect to it. Otherwise, there really is no point. I mean, if there isn't any point, if there isn't a spiritual aspect to this life, well, why doesn't everyone go out and just do what the fuck they want? You know, like kill and rape and steal. But people don't.
Isn't that
do
one of the
they?
laws of thermodynamics that? I mean, even scientists think this that energy can't disappear.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't go ape shit and just do what the fuck they want, do they? Because I think they subconsciously know that we're here for a spiritual purpose, and we're here to sort of improve our souls, if you believe in the soul thing, which I do. But you know, because like, if there's no point to existence, why don't we all just go out and do whatever the fuck we want? But we don't, do we? And it's not just the fear of prison, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it than that. I think what is quite funny when you see people like Jordan Peterson groping for some existential meaning of life when they're like hardened atheists. It's just, I find that quite amusing.
Yeah.
Because they seem to think morals will just spring up out of the ground, don't they?
It's like they say, there's no atheists in like a foxhole, is there? In the middle of war,
Yeah,
you know, there's no atheists in a trench, is there? You know, it's like. Now, there's more to this world. There's certainly more to this world. Even the subject of ghosts shows that there's more to this world than just like 9 to 5, all this bollocks. You know,
Anglosaurus Rex has mentioned Terence McKenna. You're a fan of him, aren't you? Zero?
I was until I found out he was a CIA agent. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
He did some interesting stuff, yeah. But he did actually admit that he was a CIA agent. So I don't know. I mean, I know he used to do like private sort of like gatherings over here in England when you talk about mushrooms and all that. And yeah, it's very interesting stuff, yeah. I'm certainly interested in the whole psychedelic stuff, yeah. Acid mysticism, yeah. It's very interesting, yeah.
Terence McKenna, what's the gist of his ideas then?
Can I ask you, have you ever done mushrooms or anything like that? Or
I've never.
Is that a doxy question?
All I've ever done is a bit of weed and a bit of speed. And that's about it.
Yeah.
I've never done anything psychedelic.
it's a strange business. It really is. If you're like shamanically minded, yeah, do a few mushrooms, and yeah, that's certainly teaches you things. Yeah, there's certainly like Terence McKenna says, there's a very ancient, wise intelligence within these psilocybin mushrooms, and if you take them in the right setting, they will teach you things.
While we're talking about mushrooms, have you heard that theory that Joe Rogan comes out with, that the Bible is all about how to grow mushrooms, or something?
Yeah, that dates back to John Allegro's book, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. Yeah, quite an interesting book. Yeah, he says like Christianity like arose from like mushroom worship and priests taking mushrooms. Yeah, and it's quite an interesting theory. Yeah, it's probably got something to do with it. Yeah. I mean, if you're seeing like burning bushes on mountainsides and stuff like that, it sounds like someone's on a trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Book of Revelation. I mean, that's totally psychedelic fuzz, isn't it? Like,
it seems like one, doesn't it?
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Because don't some people count it as part of the Bible and some people don't they?
That's a sort of weird hippie psychedelic part of the Bible, isn't it? Yeah, they don't really want to go there, do they? No, they're like.
What do you think to
10-fold horned the beasts and that? Yeah.
You keep talking about Enochian. Is that relating to the Book of Enoch, the lost Bible? Is it the recently found Bible?
Sort of, yeah. Enochian's supposed to be like, because the Enochian language that John Dee and Edward Kelly channeled, that's supposed to be like the original language that God spoke to the first man, Adam. It's like the original, like universal language. I didn't get that. But
that relates to the Book of Enoch, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, just like this ancient stuff with like, and the Enochian system is certainly real. I mean, it's not like it's real. You know, if you do it, you're going to get results. So, but you get results because these Enochian beings are supposed to be angelic, but they're not really, because they show you sort of. Not evil, but like strange things. Like the Enochian spirits commanded John Dee and Edward Kelly to swap wives, which was like a big no-no back in those days, you know. But
so who was Enoch?
That's
then?
what they said.
I know he's related to Noah, isn't he? Somehow.
What, John Dee?
No, Enoch.
Enoch, yeah, I'm not sure about Enoch. I've read the Book of Enoch. I'm not sure about him. I think that's one of those apocryphal books of the Bible, isn't it? Like that was edited out of the Bible, sort of. It goes on about like
the Dead Sea Scrolls as well,
isn't it? Like angels.
The Dead Sea Scrolls, another part.
All sort of like weird stuff. Because what? You know, if they're going to start editing out this stuff from the Bible, that's why I can't get behind Christianity. Because if they're going to edit out all the good weird stuff, I mean, I can't get behind that. You know, I have a good old Bible with all the stuff in it, with all the weird stuff in it. Oh, there's plenty of weird stuff in the Bible as it is. So I don't know.
So Anglosaurus Rex is talking about DMT now. He said if you've had a dream, then you've used drugs, because DMT is a natural.
I sometimes wonder whether I produced. Well, we all produce DMT, but yeah, some of the experiences I've had in sleep, I think a lot of that is DMT. Yeah.
You think you got an overactive DMT gland? Do you?
I think so. Yeah. Like it's like hard to say, isn't it? It's difficult to say. You have these weird experiences, and then it ends, and then you just go home and have a cup of tea. I just think, well, what's the point of it all? You know, it's just odd. Like I said, when I met this spirit once, I was on these scary steps, and I was walking down these steps, and like there's no street lights there, and suddenly there was this woman coming towards me on these steps, and she was glowing, and I thought, well, why is she glowing? There's no street lights. And we met each other on the steps, and she was like a middle-aged, slightly overweight woman, and she looked at me and she said, "I'm dead." And I said, like, okay. And then that was a very strange experience, but like I go home and I just have a cup of tea. You know what? You know, you have a weird experience, and then everything else is normal surrounding it. So it's like, what the fuck are you supposed to make of it? You know, it's like, I don't know. It's just odd.
Right, we've been going for
How many?
2 hours and 40 minutes. Are we about done? Are we going to wrap it up here?
I've got. So I'll just answer Marco Coletti. I've never done poppers. I've done amyl nitrate, which we used to buy from the sex shop in Yarmouth. They used to sell it to underage schoolboys, like amyl nitrate in bottles, and we used to sniff that and go on the snails. There was like a snails ride in the Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach, so we'd sniff that and go on this like snails ride with all like yeah, it was great. Yeah, poppers are great.
Yeah, I remember it when I remember it. It's like a teenage thing, isn't it?
Yeah, everything goes yellow. Like you see everything in with a yellow tint to it. Yeah, yeah.
Smells like marker pen.
Well, poor old Barry George. Well, I don't know about poor old Barry George, but yeah, there we are. Diana's dead. Dando's dead, and Barry George is jumping over things in his mind. I don't know. Jumping over buses on roller skates. Yeah.
Oh dear, that was definitely a fun one. Right, so Fortean Words now has its own YouTube channel. What I'm going to start doing eventually is we're going to stream from here and then put the archive up on the YouTube channel. So hopefully.
And I'm producing a weird magazine.
Oh yeah, you said you're going to do.
I'm doing a weird magazine. The first issue will be imminent, and I'll announce it on here.
Are you going to call it a zine? Are you going to call it a zine? Are you?
That's called inter outer, like esoteric. What's it called? Occult existentialism. Yeah, it's gonna take the publishing world by storm. As my free PDF with like 5 readers. Yeah. Right. Or maybe 10 readers. I don't know.
Right, so good night all.
This is what's known as a